booty.
And Muzz got mad at me. The coach said, he goes, Jesus Christ, why don't you just wear 2 9s? And I went, okay.
Switch the car.
Please never do that.
Yep. So.
Spittin Chiclets, presented by Pink Whitney from our friends at New Amsterdam Vodka. Here, the Barstool Sport Cast family. What's up, gang? Playoffs in full swing. Only had one handshake line over the weekend, thankfully. Lots of stuff to talk about. Let's go to the Merman first. Matt Burley, what's going on, buddy? How you been? Oh, you got to hit that mute button.
Oh, he's mute.
He's muted.
That's one.
Do a loser lap.
I'm the live guy. I'm the live guy.
He's got to do a loser lap. You got to do a loser lap. Maybe
I am a loser right now. I coached in the Charity Capital Cup Classic, and we lost in the finals again. It's like the fourth year in a row I've coached, and we lost in the finals.
This is the guy, Biz, who was like, I'm the live guy. You guys are stealing my live show idea. He's talking into outer space. Nobody's hearing him.
Fucking Johnny Carson over there. Oh, well. We'll go to the Bizman next. Paul Biz Nasty Biz. All the place crushing fucking TNT lately. Playoffs out of your mind. Going bananas. What's going on, buddy?
My Leafs.
Took what, 15 seconds at the under. Cash once again.
What a fucking soap opera.
If the soap opera is just one loser over and over and over, getting
Tarantino
never getting laid and being a loser.
Well, they're definitely getting laid, but they're losers.
Yeah, that's where they're spending all that fucking energy.
I'm running on fumes, but oh my God, some incredible games, amazing hockey. TNT's been a blast. We had Arm Dog, your co-host of Game Notes, in yesterday. We retired his iron shirt up to the rafters with Wayne's sweater vest. So it's been awesome. I'm sure you guys are having a blast live. Whit, congratulations to your Oilers. Stuart Skinner, oh my God.
It's not over yet, but thank you.
Incredible game. He needed to steal one, but I mean, we won't dive into everything yet. I mean, it's just been hockey for me. And it's actually been fun collabing with Shaq Hyman and Charles Barkley on the broadcast as well. So it's just been a fun 3 days, guys. And I love it. I love it. There it is.
When I saw this picture, like, you're a big dude, like 6'3", 25. And I'm like, oh my God, I've never seen or been around Shaq. I had one of his sneakers when I was little. He makes you look like a straight up midget, like a little person. and imagine that dude's dumper in front of the net. I just couldn't believe seeing him standing there, how little you looked.
Oh yeah, when he was screening Lundqvist too. And the best part about it, so when we get in studio with them, they get the main room, right? So normally when we're on Wednesdays, I think they have Tuesday, Thursday shows. So we never really cross over. So they take over our room and we get pigeon tossed to like the living room aspect of it. You guys have been there. But he'll come by and he won't even say anything to us. He'll just come by and he'll just start skating. He'll just go and he just does it and like goes by, and he does it all the time. So Ace started calling him Shaq Hyman because he's always in the blue paint, and it's like, it'd be awesome if Shaq could come out and do a segment as Shaq Hyman. So he came out unbeknownst to us, just did it, didn't talk, and then came out again yesterday and then did the backward skating. So it's just been a blast. And then obviously Charles giving it the Leafs guarantee, the fucking mush man. We got a new mush man, not you, Whitty. There it is.
I mean, you're right. You're right with me. And this guy, you giving him the hat and that stupid Penguin suit and him screaming it's a guarantee. It was just, I mean, you guys also buried him with silly string right after he's guaranteeing a win. I was like, I don't even get the silly string bit going on here, but the Leafs were losers from the start of that whole skit you guys did.
I didn't silly string them. The rest of the guys did to shut them up about the Leafs because I yap about them all the time. But that's something they do on their set. But the fact that he gave it the guarantee and then that game happened with the drama on the bench after they get shellacked. Yeah. William Nylander coming back and he's got the pink suit with the blouse coming in. Like, maybe just kind of fly under the radar a little bit coming in for your first game of playoffs after missing 3 after playing all 82. The fuck is going on? But I'll throw it back over to you, RA, so you could tee up our boy Whitty. It's been a good couple days for him with back-to-back wins in LA.
The Whit Dog, Ryan Whitney. How's it going, pal? How was your weekend? Looked like you had some fun on the internet.
It was phenomenal. Oh, I had a blast on the internet. But first, I want to say this. I want to say this show is brought to you by Pink Whitney. Take your shot with Pink Whitney, New Amsterdam's own pink lemonade flavored vodka, the #1 selling flavored vodka in North America. It's an honor to be a part of it. It's an honor to have my name on it. We can't thank New Amsterdam enough. We can't thank everyone out there enough for drinking it, giving it a shot. It's this time of year. It's Pink Whitney season, spring into summer, playoffs into the beach, and the Leafs will be on the golf course pretty soon, so they can really enjoy their nips every time they make a birdie, more like a bogey because they're the Leafs. But if anything, check out the new 1.75 liter bottle. It's a beautiful, big old bastard that you can just carry around to the party. You fill up everyone's drinks and have a grand old time. So shout out New Amsterdam's Pink Whitney, and thank you for taking part in drinking it with us, whether it's at your liquor store, getting the nips and the big bottles, or at a local bar where you could do a shot or make a mixie. So thank you so much. Now, back to me. Thanks for introducing me. Once again, I love being live, guys. I don't know what it is. I was born to be live, baby. We'll do it live. I'm like, what's that guy's name?
Born.
Want to record the Pink Whitney ad before? And we go, no, we'll do it live. Just like this whole goddamn show. Just like the Oilers are alive. Just like the Oilers are winning close, low-scoring playoff games finally. Just like I guarantee they'd go back to Edmonton up 3-1. We're not starting there, though. I have plenty to say. Had a Spaces after the game last night that was very successful. Did about 12 minutes straight. Merles and I made an enormous bet, and then he fell asleep. I am just grinding. I'm up every morning with the kids like Mer. I'm on baby duty, waiting for my wife to pop, and all I'm doing is watching playoff hockey, taking care of my kids, and getting in battles on Twitter. So I love it. I live for it, and playoff hockey is here.
So, Murd, you fell asleep. Also, Dave Portnoy has taken over as Mr. Ice. He also fell asleep during one of his overbets. What the hell's going on, and where's Mr. Ice? Why isn't he doing it?
He retired.
Why did he retire?
Yeah, he had a retirement game, and he lost that too, so he shut it down until he said maybe the finals will pop his head up again.
So he's just been getting slaughtered?
Slaughtered.
Yeah, slaughtered.
Oh, that sucks.
Tough time of year to just pick overs.
Yeah,
man.
Big Cat said he lost a luxury SUV on this guy the last month.
Jeez. How you been hitting,
animals?
I've been hitting it good. I went 6-1 Friday. Saturday 0-5, pathetic, but then bounced back again yesterday 5-1 until Witt talked me into Draisaitl shots in the late game, and it was
okay. So you guys have been going hard on the shots.
Lehkonen has been Merles' guy. It's Otto.
You're riding your dog, eh? Lehkonen. He's a puck hound, and he's also a shot hound now.
Yeah, Avalanche. So we had the DraftKings Merles minute yesterday, and it was the easiest thing I ever came up with was the Lehkonen. They still didn't change it from 2.5 shots. He had 7, 5, 4, and last night he only got 3, but it got it done, and he had the goal too. So huge night from the Avalanche. Just like his Oilers are going, my Avalanche are going.
I would love to wait the Lehkonen talk and the Oilers talk, because I think after yesterday, and it was right around dinner time, it was putting the kids down. We finally sat down to eat. It's the end of the Vancouver game. I'm like, Vancouver's going to lose this game. What a miraculous comeback. And Biz, before I go to you, I want to say one thing. I haven't had a ton of fun watching this series. The end of that game was electric. It was unreal. The best part of the game was Taylor Lewan chugging a beer and then his daughter chugging a water. I don't know if you guys saw that. It was incredible.
Was
but look at this. Look at this. So he pours it over the head like a complete lunatic like this. But the daughter, I think her name might be Win or Winnie. I'm not exactly sure. Look at this girl. Look at this girl. And
bravo.
I mean, what is she, 5 years old? 6 years old, so the crowd's going nuts. The games, though, pretty uneventful, pretty low energy almost, I feel.
I would say that Vancouver has had to adjust from being as aggressive as they were in the regular season. And I think that, I don't know if Talk mentioned it in a press conference. I know a couple of the guys had talked to him. I don't reach out to him during playoffs because he's got enough on his plate. But, buddy, they have 3 wins in this series, all done by different goalies. So all of a sudden, Demko goes down. Then they go to DeSmith. DeSmith was incredible. He was kicking, as well as the team in game 3. I think that they'd matched block shots as well as saves. I think they went with 31 block shots and 31 saves. A crazy end of the game as they were laying out and DeSmith was making these saves. But I guess he tweaked something. And because Demko for sure is not coming back this series, and maybe even not the next if
That
they
sucked
advance.
for him.
Oh, buddy, they're a completely different team. That's their game breaker, because they can open things up, and then they get that big save, and it's right back to the other end, kind of like we saw from Logan Thompson with the Vegas Golden Knights, right? You're getting that most nights. And I've talked to Brian Boucher, and I'm like, hey, like, is he like really the real deal? I asked him like halfway through the season, because Demko had obviously the hype from the past couple of years, but this year was really his year where I think if he stayed healthy, he ends up being the Vezina winner, right? Him or Hellebuck. So, and he said, he goes, Biz, for how big he is and the way he's able to move laterally, he's like the McDavid of goalies. That's how big of a freak physically he is. So he goes down. They got to be safe with the DeSmith thing. It's a tweak, right? He could have played, but that ice in Nashville is not the best. It gets choppy during playoff time. I've played there during play. Well, I didn't play, but our team played.
You did pregame skate.
I did pregame skate, and I got to practice there on the off days. But low scoring, uneventful hockey because of the humidity and just how the ice is that time of year. I actually predicted it before Game 3. I said, I think this is going to be low scoring going there. Well, I mean, I guess 4-3, not very low scoring. But going back to the game itself, they had to be safe with this. And that's why they put in this Arturs. How do you put his? How do you say his last name? Help me out.
Yeah, Silvos. It's way different than you'll look at it. It's
Silvos.
Silvos.
There you go. You got it.
So
I think that's why it's been uneventful, and I'm lowest amount of shots in a game one and forever with 12 the game before, and they really didn't pepper in this game until around the 3-minute mark left. So overall, an incredible win. I'll throw it back over to you. Like, what did you make of the rest of the two games?
So I want to get out ahead of it. I tweeted out, like, has a team ever had 12 shots and won a playoff game? Buddy, a team had 10, the Pittsburgh Penguins, against Nashville in game 1 of the Cup Finals and beat them. And I think that was 5-3. They did 5 goals on 10 shots or whatever it was. And then, ironically, the Oilers end up getting 13 and get a win. And funny enough, I was like, wow, that's kind of pathetic. Like, the Vancouver Canucks win all because of DeSmith. But no, they blocked a ton of shots. And then after watching my team go through it, you see the breakdown right here and the hits and all the block shots from games 3 to 4. But after seeing my team get a win with such few shots, it's almost even more exhilarating, because you're like, oh my God, we didn't get any shots on net. We blocked a million shots and we somehow got out of that game with a win. It's like, wow, we shouldn't have won that game. And in the playoffs, if you want to go on a run, you got to have a couple different instances of winning games you got no business winning. And that's what I took away from game 3. It was DeSmith standing on his head. It was the team just stepping up, blocking everything. And then it was just some timely goal scoring. Their power play's been real good. That's kind of what a lot of people say about the Oilers and the Canucks. They kind of live on their power play. But you know what? They got it done. Game 4 was a different story, where I couldn't believe when DeSmith got hurt, because Canucks fans, it's like, this sucks. You finally get Demko back. He looks pretty good. Boom. He's done for possibly the playoffs. You get DeSmith. Unbelievable. Now he's hurt. So for them to get a third win with a third goalies, that's depth. That's incredible. Good for them. What I was a little rattled for Canucks fans originally was, I guess by the letter of the law, the Forsberg goal is not a kick-in. I don't know. I look at that. Okay, so when you talk about angling your skate and a puck's thrown into the crease and a guy just turns his blade a little bit, say turns the toe of his stick or turns his heel and it goes in, boom, I'm down with that. I know his skate stayed on the ice, but it was somewhat of a motion towards the net, I thought. I guess he was just stopping.
Yeah, he moves it forward, but you see snow. And in some cases, you have to get to your outside edge. And I didn't think it was that bad. I didn't get to see many views of it. They obviously looked at it and didn't want to challenge it.
That's what's crazy. That's not reviewable, dude. That's not challengeable.
Oh, okay.
That's what I couldn't believe. That's what the broadcast said on TNT. I don't know who was doing that game, but I was like, oh, they're going to challenge that. And then the announcer's like, you can't challenge that. And I think the league would have to maybe step in and do it. But I was like, wow, that's kind of, all of a sudden it's a goal. Mike Yeo was flipping out. And I was like, they kind of got a beef there. It just looked a little different than a lot of the ones you see of just a foot being angled.
If you could have challenged it, and obviously a minor being the result, if you're wrong, I probably wouldn't have challenged it.
Yeah, because then you're 3-1 with a penalty kill coming up.
which the game before. So there's been a lot of great coaching instances in this series. Tocchet didn't hit the panic button and challenge the other one with DeSmith, the other game, because they gave up a goal late to bring it within one. Then they pulled the goalie again. And on that second goal, he interfered with his slide over. So it could have easily been challenged where, once again, if you're wrong, they're right back on the peep. So I guess we can go to game 4, and the craziness was the last couple minutes. And Liam McHugh pointed this out. When the timeout was called and Nashville was huddling up, I was shocked because all the Vancouver guys were just kind of skating around or just chilling out by the bench, and Talk didn't say one word to them. He didn't have the board out, drawing up a play for 6-on-5. And we're kind of like, what the hell? Like, wouldn't you be drawing something up? But those guys were prepared. They knew exactly what they needed to do 6-on-5. They get the first one, and then that fucking move. And listen, Merles, I'm going to throw it over to you. You were giving Quinn Hughes some shit based on your defenseman list, and it wasn't looking good for him, and that narrative would have probably stuck. But motherfucker, that juke he made at the blue line. Who was the guy who went flying?
Nyquist.
Oh, the guy who scored the goal earlier in the game. But man, he jukes him. He makes a sick little backhand pass to the top of the diamond. And then JT Miller, man, what else can you say about this guy? I don't care whatever Pasha wants to call him. My apologies for saying it was you on the broadcast, Murr. Calling him the power play merchant. Who gives a fuck? The goal in the game before with the no-look pass, and then 3 apples in game 4. Oh my God. Look at that. Look at that. A work of art. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
I've had some tough still shots of myself. There's more to come to. That one, that's a man whose Devils suck, who the Canucks are winning, and JT Miller's lighting it up. He hates his life right now.
Should we keep that up? I think that Pasha's nose might be worse than Army's.
No, man, I don't see that. Army's is straight up like east to west, like McDavid buzzing through the
I
roof.
know, but at least his isn't fat like that on the bottom, and then he's got the Drury curve on top.
This would be like me talking about a dude's ears right now, Biz.
Okay, fair enough.
Now, Merles, quickly before you go, Quinn Hughes and Hronek, they'd played the least amount of minutes of any of the D going into the third. And then they rolled with them, but I think they still only finished with like 21 minutes. So after the bobble at the blue line and that goal that it was just, there's definitely maybe an injury there, maybe a little lack of confidence. But Quinn Hughes, after Merle's brought up this entire ordeal of big defenseman being the catalyst to Stanley Cup champions, hasn't looked like himself. He really hasn't.
Yeah, I know that the city of Vancouver is happy with me right now. They're want to build a statue for me. That's how happy they are that Vancouver turned this around. But if you listen to game notes, it was not about Quinn Hughes' talent. The kid's amazing. He's awesome. I know he's a Norris Trophy winner, but I just had the stats that they don't win. And I know that Talk listened because he had them blocking shots. Friday, 30 block shots. We just saw the stats. Sunday, another, 28, 29 block shots. And that's all I was saying. If they want to win, you got to play big. You got to block shots. It's not about the dipsy doodles anymore. And I'll put my hand up. They're going to win the series. I had Nashville.
Hand up.
Actually, Wayne texted me. He said that they played your game notes video in the locker room. They remember when they used to bring out the TV in grade school? You used to watch. Yeah, everyone's pumped up. They brought it out. They put the VHS in, and it was fucking Matt Murley chirping Quinn Hughes. And there he was out there doing the Shakira hips. Shakira.
Hey, even Wayne said it on the broadcast. He was talking how you got to have Big D to win. Yeah. So if I'm on this similar thought process as number 99, I'm okay.
I think that the last 2 games alleviates a lot of stress for Petey. I'm not saying he was unbelievable. Still made a few. Wait. Still made a few mental errors. He hasn't been as dominant, but getting a few points, man, it just like helps with the confidence going back home. They're up 3-1. Hey, better than he was in the first couple games because he was in
fair.
You know what I'm saying?
But nothing close to what you're going to need if they move on and they want to be able to compete with Edmonton. I'm sorry. The 2 big dudes on Edmonton in the playoffs. I'm not going to talk about the Oilers right now. Back to Vancouver. What an unbelievable first 4 games for Connor Garland. A guy who wasn't exactly in a great spot. He requested a trade at one point. Things were looking murky for him. That dish to Lindholm behind the net on the backhand, and Lindholm made the great pass over to Besser to make it 3-2 when they originally pulled the goalie. So Lindholm had some question marks after his regular season after the trade over from Calgary. He's turned it on. Garland's played phenomenal the whole time. Their depth players have been better than their big guys. I think JT Miller's been real good, but Besser, for him to go out and get a hat trick, dude, 3-3 going into overtime, he's got all three. And that second effort, dude, on the tying goal, to have that first chance, and then it looked like it was dead. It looked like Saros had him, and he just kind of reaches back from the goal line. Unbelievable second effort there, and no quit in Vancouver. So Canucks fans have to be proud. That was just a big ballsy win. I mean, they had no business. Like, you could see them being like, all right, it's 2-2. We're going home. We're in a good spot. We got to win 2 of the next 3, and 2 of them are in our building. But also, they didn't give up.
Knowing you got to fly back to Nashville, though, if you're 2-2, you know you have to come back. Worse travel. But it's, buddy, you mentioned that third line. Like, Lindholm was injured after he came over from the trade. He wasn't playing well, so who knew how he was going to be in playoffs? You mentioned Garland before the season, like, requesting the trade. Dakota Joshua got called out in training camp by Tocchet for maybe not coming in with that dog mindset. But that line has been the heartbeat of this team when they've needed him most. And I got asked by Bob Marjanovic, he's like a radio guy in Canada. He said, what do you think the difference in the series will be? I think it was going to be depth scoring, because Mikheyev was double digits. Lafferty was double digits. Dakota Joshua was double digits. Hoglander was double digits. So they had all these guys come out of their shell this year to provide that secondary scoring, and to why they ended up having such a successful season and winning the Pacific Division. So the fact that they're stepping up now in the perfect time, especially when a guy like Petey's not going the way that he's going, just huge for this fucking group, man. I'm so fired up for them. They deserved a bounce like last game based on the shit show they've been dealing with in net. They deserve that.
Yeah, I agree.
Speaking of the shit show in net, we have a little breaking news. The 2024 Vezina finalists have been announced. Sergei Bobrovsky, Thatcher Demko, and Connor Hellebuck.
Oh, my God, Hellebuck. Oh my God.
Oh, wow.
What's the next series? I think we can move on from Vancouver and Nashville.
Yeah.
We'll see if Vancouver can close that one out. But I think right now it's just been a ballsy effort by that entire team.
I don't think we mentioned the fact that Sissons could have ended the fucking.
Oh my God, we didn't.
That's what I hit. I was just going to bring that up. Like,
oh my God, and the bench. Did you see
night-
the bench? They're all like hugging. It's
nightmares.
that poor guy, dude.
Oh, he didn't sleep a wink last
On
night.
his backhand, like not that far from the net. Right as he released it, the crowd, the view I saw, the camera kind of like looking at him from the far right corner, and the crowd goes nuts as it goes off his stick. And then it's just, there was one guy on the bench who stayed with his arms up. I don't think he knew. I don't think he watched. I don't know who it was. There's a clip of the bench. I don't know if you could find it. And he's looking around like, and everyone's like, dude, put your arms down, bud. He missed.
Oh God. Hey,
Good
imagine you had the puck line for Nashville.
Oh,
Like,
no, I
Let's
couldn't.
ask
I could never imagine that in a million years.
Puck line Jesus got
Well,
benched.
RA had
Puck line
Nashville
Jesus
first
got
period,
crucified.
second period, third period, money line in game 3. I was like, all right, I'll ride with him. Waxings.
Yeah, that was tough. I mean, I do have both. Like, obviously, I got 17 teams. I do have two big future on Vancouver. So, I mean, it's not, but yeah, it was tough to lose that one. Puck line.
Oh God, Sissons,
Hey,
man.
What was weird, Biz, about the game was DeSmith was actually the e-bug for the game Sunday. Like, that's weird because, he couldn't play while he was hurt. So they had, the Silvo. So obviously his name started. Then another backup, and he was actually the e-bug. So he wasn't healthy enough to start the game. But if they went through 2 other goalies, he'd be healthy enough to play. Kind of weird for the playoffs, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, but once again, they had to be conservative about the situation because, buddy, if they lose Demko and DeSmith, that Arctis kid, he had no playoff experience coming in. Like, you don't know what you're getting. Like, you could be getting a Louis Domingue. And we've actually seen this with the Pittsburgh Penguins when they were down to their third string, spicy pork and broccoli. And nothing against Louis Domingue. He had a great NHL career. I think he's now playing in the AHL or was up and down all season. But that whole series turned when they had to go to their 3-string goalie. Like, wasn't Pittsburgh up 3-1 in that series against the Rangers? I think they had a stranglehold on it, and they couldn't.
Was it 3-1? Yeah.
They couldn't. They couldn't win with the third string. So maybe weird that you're saying that he wasn't the backup in case maybe Arcturus went down, but buddy, they can't risk any injury with the Smith. They had him wrap and bubble wrap up in the top of the building near no one. So we can move on. Stranglehold on the series for the Canucks. It by any means is not over. Obviously, Nashville being a very resilient group, they went through the fucking wall in the last later part of the season after the FU tour. So can't count them out at all. But such a huge momentum shift going back to Van for the Canucks.
Absolutely. Interesting stat, Biz. Just the 8th time since 1990 that a team has used 3 goalies in one series. The previous 7 teams went 1-6 in those particular series. So see what happens with Vancouver.
Yeah,
not over yet,
science.
like I said. Huh? What'd you say?
They're defying science.
Next up, Biz, I had your boys queued up. The Leafs, Bruins. Your boys are on the brink. The Bees got it done Saturday night. Marchand absolutely crushing the Leafs right now. And we had a little tete-a-tete on the bench. What was going on with your boys on the bench, man? I made up a little dialogue for a little tweet. What
8 years of failure. Yeah, at one point. We're sorry, Biz. Go ahead.
No, you can go too. I was just gonna say, Whit, like about that situation. I'm sure you've had plenty of fuck you matches on the bench, buddy. I mean, you played power play with Sid. If you didn't find the seam, I'm sure he was coming back to the bench, letting you have it. The only difference is you probably didn't say shit because you didn't want to get sent back to Wilkes-Barre.
No, I didn't say a word. I said, I'm sorry, sir. Let me try again. I'm sorry, sir. May I have another?
Thanks, sir. May I have another?
Oh, my God.
I'm sorry, Biz. It's one of those things where I don't think the arguing on the bench is the end of the world. It's not, because that happens a lot. You actually saw 2 different instances this year of Perry was giving it to Evander Kane, and I think Leon was giving it to Evander Kane and trying to get him going in the regular season. It's like, that happens, dude. You're together all the time. It's a family. You call each other out when you need to have more. We've talked about Joe Thornton back in the day saying we need more out of you. Like, that's not crazy. It's just the fact that Marner is like that bad right now. And these 2 guys, Nylander hasn't even played. He's telling him to stop fucking crying. This isn't fucking junior. That's what he said. Like, dude, that's not just, hey, buddy, you got to get the puck in deep there. Hey, bud, be harder on the puck. Stop fucking crying. This isn't fucking junior. That's a different type of like personal argument on the bench in a playoff game.
And buddy, you just, if that's me, and I have that skill set, and I missed the first 3 games, I could have found out that Austin Matthews thumped my old lady, and I wouldn't have said shit on the bench. Like, that's ridiculous. That's the worst part about it, where it's like, bud, you just missed the first 3 games. Like, you shouldn't be saying anything. Now the argument becomes, who is he yelling at? Did they establish who he was talking to? Was he talking to Matthews? Because right before that, or was it after that, Marner turns around and throws his gloves down. I think the funniest thing about the clip was Bertuzzi, though. Bertuzzi's just like,
Bertuzzi's like, I want to be on the Bruins again.
Could I change
that spoke me on?
He's actually been pretty solid in the series and working his dick off. Marchand has been owning him though. He's just working them left and right. But where do you want to start? I mean, you want to start with Marner and what I said on air?
Can I start with one thing Bruins side?
Yeah.
One thing Bruins side.
Let's start with
and that is the big question mark. Would they continue the rotation? No. They had 2 games in between games 3 and 4. Monty made the right decision. I think it was pretty not alarming. I can't think of the word, but after game 3, Swayman said, and I said, there's no goalie controversy here. These guys love each other, the celebrations, how close they are off the ice. And I don't think there's a controversy
Put that off the screen.
But then all of a sudden, Swayman came out and said, I want to keep playing. I don't want to give up this net. And it was almost like, all right, well, yeah, they're buddies and they really care about each other, but there's also some sort of ego involved. Not in a bad way, ego, just like, dude, I'm feeling it right now. I don't want to come out of this net because I'm so confident. When goalies get in this zone, they get in this zone. And it kind of led me into hearing a pretty incredible story involving Swayman. And the Leafs and the Bruins have this ridiculous goalie history, right? The Leafs gave the Bruins Tuukka Rask. He had this unbelievable run. Well, apparently Swayman's draft year, okay?
Oh, yeah. Here we go.
Did you hear this, Biz?
Keep going.
Okay, so he was interviewing with teams prior to the draft and all that, and apparently the Leafs really, really liked him. And he was telling his father, like, yeah, I think the Leafs are going to pick me. And round 4 comes around. He's been hearing the Leafs are into him. And now all of a sudden the Leafs have the pick. 4th round pick coming up. Dad, here we go. And the Maple Leafs select goaltender Ian Scott. 1 pick before the Bruins. 1 pick. And the next pick, the Boston Bruins select Jeremy Swayman. And what do you think Jeremy Swayman's thought about since that day? I cannot wait to get to the NHL. I cannot wait to be a starting goalie, and I cannot wait to shove it up the Maple Leafs assholes. And he's doing it, and he's doing it in style. And I think hearing that, it made even more sense. Stick with him right now. I don't care if you get to the second round. You actually want to go 1 and 2 and see what happens. Right now, this is Swayman's crease, and he is making a mockery of the Toronto Maple Leafs. He's in that zone. So go ahead.
Do you have his numbers, RA? Because they're astronomical. It's nuts.
Yeah, Swayman 3-0, 9.56 save percentage, 134 goals against. He stopped 87 of 91 shots so far. Yeah, absolutely stellar. I told you, fuck those rotations in the playoffs.
I think we should stick with the Bees and give them their flowers before we get to the Leafs now. How about Monty handling it in the media too? He said the goal all along was to make sure each goalie gets a game. This guy is just a little puppet master, isn't he? Do you believe a word of that, Murr?
No, that's why when he talked about the travel, he's like, I don't understand why we're up here for 3 days. We're the home team. He's a master class. He's thinking way ahead of everybody, just diverting all the topics and the media. He's a little magician, and I just love what he's doing. And I did agree finally with the Swayman, and now it's Swayman's net. But I was going to ask RA, like, what do you do next series? You do Swayman because he has this great history with Toronto. Florida, Ullmark gave up the lead last year. Swayman lost the last game, but is it Swayman right away in Florida too?
Fuck yeah.
Whoa, pump the fucking
no,
brakes,
Swayman,
buddy.
game 1, Swayman, and then go from there. That's all. No
Hey,
rotation.
3-1 here, boys. I said that they were going to reverse the curse, and they were up 3-1 on the Bees in that last crazy meltdown series where they gave up also a 4-1 lead in that crazy game.
Bergeron.
It ain't over yet, boys.
Wait, the Bruins were up 3-1 in that series, weren't they?
No, I think the Toronto Maple Leafs weren't they? Talk to me.
In 2000,
2013.
19?
Yeah, 2013. They blew the 3-1 series, then the 3-1 lead, right?
Yeah, blew a 3-1 series lead.
Oh my God. Okay, so I thought they'd actually already come back against the Bruins to force Game 7 being down 3-1. I thought that was the case, and I was like, oh my God, if they actually win the next 2 and then this happens again. I didn't know they were up in that series. Wow.
I think we got to go back to Brad Marchand, and it's scary because Game 3 when he was in Toronto, he was like, I guess pregame skate. It was 5 minutes before they were actually supposed to start, and he goes over to Monty. He's like, let's fucking get going here. Let's go. I'm ready to go. And he had pep in his step the whole day, so you knew he was going to bring it. And then obviously all that drama from him in the situation with Bertuzzi in Game 3, I don't think that should have been a penalty. I think they were just battling in the neutral zone. That was just gamesmanship. It sucks that they didn't because they end up going down and scoring that weak one. But then once again, the Marchand show in Game 4 ends up having 2-3 points in that one, a huge goal on that PP. And it's just, he's on a mission. And I would say at this point, there's no doubt in my mind, Brad Marchand is a Hall of Famer. Just from the leadership standpoint, everything's done from a body of work. The sheer dominance over the last decade is one of the best gamer wingers in the league. Pull up his playoff numbers. The bigger the game, the bigger the stakes. Brad Marchand is at the top of the fucking list. He's a warrior. So it starts there. DeBrusk has been an absolute Leaf killer. How do you pronounce his last name? Gee, you're hopping in here if you want to talk, but this is it Lowry? Or no,
Laraie, Mason Laraie. He's awesome.
He's the one who forces the pinch in Game 4, right down on Revo. And then boom, it's in the back of the net to get the boys going. I don't know what they're going to have to pay him, but he seems like he's the next fucking Chara for them. They just keep reloading.
We talk about the culture so much with the Bruins, and Biz, I thought Wayne told an unreal story on TNT this past week about how Marchand went to training camp 5 days early to practice with the rookies, was going out there the whole time. The only guy that had been that have played NHL games is skating with the rookies at their training camp, at their development camp. I thought that's amazing. But one point on the Bruins too is their bottom six has been incredible. I thought Pat Maroon, like a lot of people made fun of that acquisition, like especially the videos that were first coming out of him at Bruins practice and shit, looking slow and big. And he has been incredible. I think he's been an unbelievable addition to that bottom six. Beecher's been incredible. I know Hazy was giving me shit earlier this season for that.
He was.
100%. I think that bottom six has been the difference maker here, besides Swayman.
And then to the Leafs. Okay. To the Leafs. Jason Gregor, my buddy, Edmonton guy. I've actually updated this tweet since game 4. This was after game 3, so I've just changed it. Maple Leafs last 11 playoff games. They've scored 21 goals, scored 3 goals once. Their power play is 10%. They're 3-8 in those games. Chris Johnson tweet. The Leafs have lost 6 straight playoff games on home ice, getting outscored 21-11. This is your core. This is your there it is. TikTok hockey, baby.
Gritty, baby.
And this has to be the end of this core. And I'm telling you this, Biz. You cannot win with these 4 guys as your big dogs. They don't got it. Matthews, he got it. He's the guy. Tavares getting older. What a career. Makes too much money. I think he's got one more season. Not the end of the world. Nylander, Marner, one of them's got to go.
It ain't going to be Nylander.
It ain't going to be Nylander.
It ain't going to be. He just signed an 8-year ticket.
And I've been very open about when I talk about players, like admitting, dude, Mitch Marner is an incredible hockey player.
Yes, he is.
His skill level is out of control. He's a crazy point producer in the regular season. Even the playoffs, his points aren't great. He doesn't score a lot of goals. He's very undersized. And not only is he undersized, but he's frail. Sidney Crosby and it was undersized. Like Martin St. Louis was a little undersized. Like they're thick, dude. They're fucking in the corners. They're battling. This guy is just getting tossed around. He is 1 million times the hockey player I ever could have been in every aspect. But dude, I'm looking as an analyst and somebody watching these games. This guy, he doesn't got it in the playoffs. He doesn't got it. And the fact of the matter is, when you're sitting around looking at the ref and you're sitting around and you're throwing your gloves, it's like, all right, something's got to change here. I think Keefe will be gone, and I think Marner will be gone. And I don't know what they get in return and who they hire as a coach, but let's just finally come out and say, this isn't the core. This ain't going to do it.
And it's, some people might say it's not fair to single out just Marner. I think in this situation, if you go back to last year, Nylander was probably their best forward in playoffs. It's very unfortunate whatever happened as to why he couldn't play in the first 3 games. Do I know the full story? Absolutely not. It came down to migraines, apparently. He was throwing up, something that he'd never really dealt with. So it's hard to hold that against him. I thought in the game 4, when he got inserted, he did make some plays. There was a few instances where he maybe tried to do a little too much individually, go 1-on-2, 1-on-3. They had all the momentum in the third period at one point. He took that stupid penalty. I want to say it was on Jake DeBrusk where he just reached over, grabbed him, and hauled him down. So overall, like, was he the reason they lost? No. Could we have used him in the first 3 games to maybe pull out one more win if we would have saw last year's Nylander? Like, they've been the first 3 games, like, or at least games 2 and 3, they were tight. I feel like he could have been a big impact in game 3. Matthews won them game 2. He ain't the fucking problem. He's a horse. And then all of a sudden, to add to the drama, he comes down with an illness. So he's battling something. He actually left game 4 in the third period. I don't know what he's dealing with now either. So he ain't fucking going, and he hasn't been the problem. JT, agree completely. Makes way too much money. If he stays as a Toronto Maple Leaf after next year's deal, all good. But he should be making $1 million on a team-friendly deal, playing 4th line center and then providing leadership. At $11 million, I don't even know if he's like an elite 3rd line center at this point with his speed. But once again, I don't think he's been the major problem. I think that Mitch Marner has been rubbish, the worst player on the team this full series. I didn't say shit until finally game 4. Games 1 and 2 on the road, non-existent. didn't win. Pull up the tape. I don't think he won one fucking puck battle along the yellow dasher, along with really not doing anything else. Yeah, you saw signs of brilliance with that one backdoor play he made to Nyes, the Marner magic. But like, if you think that that's like, oh, I did my thing, like I had my guy, you didn't. You're making $11 million. You should.
And what does he want? What does he want in the next deal?
Probably 13. Probably exactly what I want what Austin Matthews made. Why is he getting all the attention? He's getting the fucking attention because he plays on the fucking defensive side of the puck. He wins puck battles and he scores 69 fucking goals. You're going fucking Leafs or Raptors courtside 2 weeks before playoffs after being out with an injury, doing a fucking photo op when you haven't done fuck all come playoff time. That's the problem I have with it. So after the first 2-3 game performances, and listen, I've said it on the broadcast too, I don't know if he's injured. An injury
he could still be injured. Yeah.
He could be dealing with something still lingering. But why is he playing as much as he's playing? Murr, I saw your post and I talked about it also, and I ran the clip on the broadcast, the PK. So he'd lost every battle in the first period. So I'm waiting. My blood's starting to boil. Then they win an offensive zone faceoff in the second period. He goes to the wall. He has so much time and space. I think he's going to open up and scan the ice and make a good play. Probably move it to his defenseman who was wide fucking open. No, he's slow. He gets fucking manhandled and beat on the wall. It goes back to the defensive zone. They take a penalty. Who gets put out on the fucking penalty kill? Mitchie penalty kill Marner. Floats up to the top, misses the block, takes a curl, doesn't stop. Puck goes down low. He comes out of position from the top of the diamond. He goes to the low guy, Coyle. He's got one hand on his stick. It's on the wrong side of him. Coyle makes the play up top. Charlie Coyle says, here comes the clap bomb. Yeah, sunk over to Marner back door in the back of the net. And who the fuck's Frank going? Mitch Marner. Why the fuck is he killing penalties, Murr? Why the fuck is he killing penalties?
There's zero accountability there. As soon as he got that big deal,
you're right.
There's no, like, they just have the keys to the whole city. There's no accountability. There's no like leadership there. The way they play, the way they act, like you talked about off the ice. But I think like what you said, Whit, about Nylander saying like this isn't junior. That's something that's been going on for a long time.
That's personal, dude.
Yeah. Like, I'm sick of hearing about your junior stories and what you did and playing like this. Like, this is the NHL. This is game set, like 7-game series, big boy hockey. Quit the shit. And he's finally fed up with it, especially, like you said, he missed the 3 games. He should just sit there and be quiet, but it is so bad there. The culture's so bad. It finally boiled over.
That's why some people thought that Nylander was looking at Matthews because Marner was sitting back. But Matthews never played junior. So
I think Matthews was talking to Marner, and I think Marner was talking back, and this is my guess. And then I think Nylander popped in, and it was just like a 2-on-1. I think Matthews starts here. I'm pointing at Matthews, and Marner's like, oh, what the fuck? And then Nylander's on the other side and probably started giving it to him too, and then he chucked his gloves. Now, I think many Marner fans are like, all anyone does is single out Marner. It's like, all right, well, I mean, Tavares, people have said enough about Tavares, and the other 2 guys in the playoffs have showed up, so it's a little different. My thing is, watch the first shift of the game, or was it the first penalty the Bruins got? Do you remember what Marchand did, dude? He fucking flies into the zone. He kind of beats Matthews a little bit. Riley comes over. He ends up going and getting the puck in the corner, and he throws it back to the D. It's just like this dog mentality that you don't see in Toronto. And it'll have to be a big time culture core shakeup for it ever to have a chance of changing. And let's not forget the defense, like they can't move the puck. That defense cannot get the puck out of their own zone, like tape to tape. And the Bruins have done a good job forechecking, but like you got to be able to make plays under pressure, dude. You got to be able to actually have a guy draped all over to you, look on the wall, and then find a guy in the middle. The Leafs don't have that. Like Riley can do it. But I would at least get what's his name? Fucking Giordano back in there. Get some leadership in there.
I agree with you there. I would be okay.
And Biz, sorry, last thing.
No, you're fine.
You never know. Hockey's crazy. The Bruins blew 3-1 last year. Florida's a way different team. But now you got Hull. Now you got Hall. Excuse me. Like he's playing Wall. He's
Wall.
playing, correct? I always think of Justin Hall,
Giving
which
me-
is not
yeah,
a good.
you're
The Leafs
giving me-
fans don't love
Giving
that.
me PTSD there.
Wall, buddy. Hey, Samsonov's done. See you later. He ain't playing for the Leafs ever again. Wall, hey, who knows, dude? I actually don't even know why. I know he was injured, but like, why didn't they just go to him earlier?
I don't think Sammy's been the issue in this series. Maybe that one back was it DeBrusque or
Frederick's
Frederick's
goal?
Yeah,
Oh,
Frederick,
that
that
was
was a bad one. It was a backbreaker. That was right after that Marchand Bertuzzi incident. Now, I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, but with Nylander missing the first 3 games, did I already say, like, why would he come in with that suit? Why would he do that? Why would he do his?
They don't give a fuck, dude. As Merle said, they're the Toronto Maple Leafs, dude. I walk around this city, people want pics with me. I'm a fucking god, dude. They don't care.
Even after the morning skate, he does the interview. He's got no tarp on. He's got the chains.
And the earrings.
Just
Which
come
I
on,
respect
man.
fashion. I got no fashion. If you want to be fashionable, great. But buddy, win a fucking game.
Yeah. Oh my God. But as crazy as this sounds, as big of a soap opera as this has been, maybe they turn it on. Maybe they go back to Boston away from all the notes. Matthews heals up for illness. Maybe Marner takes it personally and we see more of that Marner magic. I mean, yeah,
Wall,
the nice,
baby.
yeah, and maybe Wall stands on his head. Who knows? You just never fucking know. So Leafs aren't dead yet, and the fat lady hasn't sang. So let's go.
When you tweet it out, it isn't over. People think you're trolling. I said, I go, people don't. This guy ain't trolling. This dude actually beliefs. I believe that they're gonna come back, and I respect it. You're a diehard.
Well, let me ask RA.
It ain't over to you.
RA, what happened last year to the Bruins?
They fucked up the lineup. They fucked up the goaltending. They just Monty just had too many pots and didn't know where to put them. And the goaltending, he screwed up as well. Yeah, that's it. They should have just put. I mean, I said put Swayman in game 3, and they didn't put him until game 7. Yeah, so that's what happened last year.
Here's my prediction: they're gonna find a way to fuck it up again.
Yeah, I
Let's
don't.
go, Leafs.
Whit, you say Mitch, he doesn't have it. Like, is that something that he can get later, or is that something he can learn eventually?
I that's the thing. The way he's built, like that's not his fault. He is not a very strong human being. Dude, he is super strong. You know what I'm trying to say right now? I'm talking like in the NHL with these guys, a lot of dudes 200 to 220 pounds, that in the playoffs, when you can be rougher, when you can be more physical, when everyone changes their game, there's certain parts of him that really can't. He's not going into a corner with certain people and coming out with it. And he can toe drag these people, and he can be down on one knee and score these beautiful goals and just have skill that's through the roof. But sometimes in these games, dude, you got to be a horse. And he's a smaller built individual. So and what's funny is in the regular season, he'll always light up the regular season, especially nowadays in hockey. The guy's unbelievable at hockey. But when the games get, dude, when it's one step, it's a little bit time and space that you lose, and a little bit more physicality, and all of a sudden it's like, holy shit, dude, I'm in one. And they're not calling as much as they call in the regular season. So I feel bad. The kid is I've actually heard he's a great kid too.
He's yeah.
I've heard guys love him, and on the road, he's one of the guys. It's just you're making this much money. It's just hard to not bring up.
Nothing personal. And you said everything about his skill set and how good he is. This comes down to effort, battle level, body language in some instances. I pointed out the clip too. He's a net front. He goes in for the battle. Yeah, he got a little tap on the back of the leg, but he drops to his knees. He looks at the ref. It's just like, bud, this is fucking playoffs. And if you're not built for playoffs, stop fucking asking for 13 fucking sheets, because that's where you earn your money. Fucking, how about you say, you know what? I'll make 10 after already making close to 100 a year, total in his career. Why don't you take 10? Because based on the fucking overall picture, he ain't not worth anywhere near 13 sheets. Keep in mind, folks, Brad Marchand, $6.25 million, and he's been the biggest beast in the series.
Guys, Mark Masters just tweeted out the lines for Leafs practice.
Halsey and Ebbs used to say I looked like Mark Masters. They used to call me Mark Masters.
And Matthews, one, is not present at practice. That's kind of people expected that, but he responded to the tweet with, when Matthews missed Friday's practice, Dewar skated on the top line as a placeholder. That is not the case today. Domi is skating with him. Leafs preparing for a scenario where Austin Matthews is unavailable for Game 5.
He must have like some serious food poisoning, or
If he ain't playing,
oh my God,
if he ain't playing,
you're waving it. You're waving it.
You think? Yeah.
I mean,
Fucking
your hog's
Christ.
down there. You're waving.
Yeah.
Waving the white flag.
Fuck. Wave my
Oh,
fork.
boy.
All right, let's move on. Let's
Yeah,
move
yeah.
on. We got 6 more series, and one of them's over.
Before we do, though, we have a word from our good friends over at Game Time, Whit.
Live?
All right, everybody, before we go any further, here's a few words from our good friends over at Game Time. Look at everybody right here. Rolling Stones, Foxborough, a few weeks away. $132 you can get the bond for. The greatest rock and roll band ever. That's unbelievable. Unbelievable. I can't even talk. That's how unbelievable it is. You want to see the Red Sox, any baseball team, hockey playoffs, basketball playoffs, anything you want to see, you go to Game Time. They have it all. That's right. Thanks to Game Time, the official ticketing partner of Barstool Sports. You know what? You shouldn't have to worry when you buy tickets to your next big event. You don't have to deal with dirtbags out front or shady people online. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets to all of the sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you. Game Time has flash deals for sudden discounts. They have zone deals for when you're feeling a little flexible there. And the lowest price guarantee, which means that if you find the same seats for less anywhere else, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Pretty good deal right there. Game Time is the best place for last-minute seats with up to 60% off of your favorite events. What are you waiting for? I already had a ticket for the Stones. You know what? I'm buying this for my buddy. Going to get him in for about $112 to see the greatest rock and roll band of all time. And you can do the same. Game Time right here. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code Chiclets for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Once again, download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
Biz, if you want to see the Marner's last game as a Leaf, $155 right now, tomorrow night, the Garden.
That's why we bring you on, Mur.
Game
That's
time,
why we
baby.
bring you on, buddy. Thank you so much.
Promo code Chiclets, $20 off.
Shout out to Game Time. Thank you, guys.
What's
All
the
right,
next series, RA?
Colorado, Winnipeg, huge surprise here. Obviously, Winnipeg, a lot of people think they're going to do a lot better. They're down 3-1 right now, getting dummied. I don't know what is up with Connor Hellebuck. This guy is the presumed Vezina winner. 1-3, 19 goals he's given up on 146 shots, comes out to an .870 save percentage, 5.22 goals against. What do you think happened? Is it just strictly mental here? I mean, he doesn't look like he's hurt. Like, what's your take on this?
A fraud squad. They're back.
Oh my God, fraud alert. That player has texted me. I fucking told you was the text I got. It is a fraud show right now. Now, I have no idea what's going on with Hellebuck. I don't get it. It's not like I know goaltending well enough to see what he's doing technically that's just so lost right now and where he's just fighting the puck this much. I would have to lean towards Colorado and the way that they are just getting into the zone and getting through the neutral zone. It's like they're in practice. It's like they're doing the 5-on-0 warm-up breakout drill when you go down to the under end and shoot. Or maybe there's 2 defensemen that hop up and just kind of ghost it playing defense so the players don't exactly have nothing to get in the way. Colorado is just dominating. And I guess if you look at like the rosters, and we talked about the depth Winnipeg has and how they got 3 basically 1A, 1B lines, they have no superstar level players, and Colorado has 3 of them. And I don't even think Rantanen's been as great as he can be, and they still look unstoppable. But Makar, we got to talk about Makar. And actually, it goes back to Hellebuck. Makar's goal, while being one of the goals of the playoffs, it was Bobby Orr-esque. I think everyone could agree. First off, I thought it was icing watching the game. I'm like, icing, and the ref waves it off late. Most defensemen would kind of be like panicked. Oh my God, nope, no big deal. I'll just grab it. I'll wheel the net, totally shield off one guy with the net. See you later. Then he comes up on 2 guys, sort of loses it a little bit, but he's going so fast it ends up kind of hitting his skater's shin pad, bounces right to him. Now you got 3 forwards gone, or maybe at least 2. I think the other guy had come back, and then boom,
gave up.
the other guy, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, this is the defenseman coming down on me as another defenseman. As Biz wafts a fart and waves the white flag as the players on Winnipeg are, he just comes down and snipes. Awesome shot. I think maybe, I mean, obviously there's Matthews, but like, is his wrist shot not right there with Matthews?
Yeah, that's what I said. And he can
Dude.
change the angle. He pulls and changes the angle. He's
And from the point, and what I noticed too, I wonder if kids out there have been working on this, and his hands are very close together, which is definitely easier to stick handle. Like if your bottom hand's up a little higher, like it's easier to feel the puck and have softer hands, but it's not that easy to shoot it and snap it from there. Dude, he's on the point, he's like sifting wristers through like Lidstrom used to do, but they're going 93 miles an hour. And so if they don't get tipped, they're beating goalies high. But that goal at the end of that rush, I don't know. Hellebuck has that in the regular season, I think. Great shot, but kind of far out, no screen, and boom, it just beats him over his blocker. It's just, there's goals that he's giving up that, to me, when you watched him all regular season, you're just like, that it's not going in. It was clockwork. You know, certain shots, certain one-timers. If there's no screen, Hellebuck's got it. Perfect position, gets down low. Nothing's beating him low. Got an amazing glove. And I don't know, RA, sometimes confidence just gets in your head. You lose a little bit of it. And then this is not the team as a goalie. You want to be trying to find your confidence again. Merles, I think you've said it all year long. Actually, they've been your team for about 3 years now. And Pasha sent to the group text, there's no team who gets a little momentum and goes on a run more than the fucking Colorado Avalanche. It's like when they smell blood, it's Jaws skating after that boat in Martha's Vineyard.
It's the definition of buzzing. When they get buzzing in the ozone,
too,
they're buzzing. Now, it seemed like Hellebuck had a great 2 periods in game 3, right?
When they were up 2-1 going into the third?
When they were up 2-1, but then as much as you want to blame Hellebuck, Jets are giving up opportunities in scoring chances and shots like they weren't in the regular season. If you give up 40 shots against the Abs, you're toast. So I don't know if the altitude played a factor where all of a sudden the floodgates opened in the third period in that game 3. But overall, if he ain't playing lights out the way that they're playing, they don't have a chicken dick's chance of winning this series. It's over in my opinion now. They're a mentally fragile group, the Jets. There's no resilience in that locker room. Last year, same thing. They won game 1, they get rocked in game 2, and they were never able to recover. There's no response right now.
At least one of those games they got to double OT with Vegas.
Right, where now it's like they forgot how to play.
Pickings.
They're not cycling the puck in the offensive zone. They're not eating clock. They don't. How many games in a row this year did they go where they allowed 2 or fewer goals? I think it was like an 11-game stretch. They've completely lost their defensive structure. Did losing Brendan Dillon help? No. Horrendous injury.
Horrible, by the way.
I hope he's doing all right, man. That was ugly.
Thankfully, I guess there's no structural damage. It's just the cut. Jesus. So they're obviously swelling and infection is the worry.
There's a
now.
hole in his hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, all right, buddy. Yeah.
No, people. We can't even put the still image up here on the chat on the stream, but it was horrible looking. But Merles, you watch the Avalanche so much that I guess you're used to seeing once the ice is tilted, they're playing downhill.
Yeah, and they just keep coming, and you got to credit Sakic as the GM getting that kid Walker on D. He's buzzing.
It's McFarland now. It's McFarland.
Well, with Sakic's running everything up there.
Agree.
Let's be honest here. But he goes back sometimes. I think it's McCarr grabbing the puck because he's buzzing around so much. That Miles Wood they got from the Devils that Pasha hated. That
he
guy
said he
goes
sucks.
out there and he's flying. Colton's flying around. Your buddy Cogliano, he's flying around, and these are the third, fourth liners. So these guys are going nuts. By the time McKinnon and them come back out, the team is like, "What the hell's going on?" And then they just have their day with them. They're really fun to watch. And I think it was on your broadcast, Biz, I was watching, and some of the players were saying when you feel that altitude, it's like a guy sitting on your chest, and like you can't breathe, and it usually does hit you in the second, third period, and then that place is buzzing. Like you said, they smell the blood. The fans smell it. They stand up the whole time. It's awesome.
Okay, I want to give some flowers out, RA. Let's quickly talk about Bowen Byram gets moved, right? They had D depth. He wasn't going to be the number 1 guy. Casey Middlestat.
Oh, yeah.
some question marks, right? Like never played in a playoff game, has been getting better. I think stats-wise every year in Buffalo, improving. A little bit of a thicker body while being not huge. He's thick.
Oh, yeah.
He has looked amazing. And what he's done being the second-line center that they've been chasing ever since Kadri left is he's been able to allow Nichushkin, McKinnon, and Rantanen to play together, okay? And also to go with Middlestat playing this well, Parisi's playing unbelievable. I said last show, Parisi was on a golf trip in September. I'm not done. I want to come. I want to keep playing. Colorado grabs him. He's looked awesome, dude. And the final piece of that second line are Arturi Lehkonen. And this is the thing with Marner, not to go back to the Leafs. Arturi Lehkonen is kind of the same build. Now, the difference is 100%. He is not the star of the team. He is not one of the 3 or 4 stars of the team. So it's different. He doesn't have the same matchups. He doesn't have to deal with the number 1 lines and the number 1 D, but he is a tenacious Finnish asshole on the ice. He's always in the fight. He's in every battle. He's winning battles. He's tipping pucks. He's going to the dirty areas, and he is in the mix every single game. This guy is a playoff player. You remember how well he played when Montreal went to the finals against Vegas. He was leading that team on that crazy run they had when they beat Vegas. So this is a guy that's rounded out this second line that allows the 3 big guns to play together, and now okay, we got the McKinnon line buzzing. Now we got Middlestat flying around making plays with his 2 great wingers. One of them's 39 years old, Zach Parisi. And then we come with Colton's line. And it's like as Merle said, it's never ending. And then you got Makar back there. Walker doesn't have a point, dude. I had no idea how good of a skater Sean Walker.
Yeah, he can close on you
like a motherfucker. Dude. He flies. You got Manson getting points. You got Devon Taves and Makar. This team, obviously they want Vegas Dallas to go to 7, and then I think they're going to be favored no matter who they play. The way they've looked, Winnipeg's not a joke of a team. I'll go to Biz. Do you have anything to say?
I was just gonna look at the trades this team has made.
I know,
like Sean Walker, Josh Manson, Devon Taves. They got him in a trade. You just said Lehkonen, Middlestat, Nichushkin. They basically got Nichushkin for nothing. Like that, those are all impact players I just mentioned. It's fucking crazy, man. Incredible job by the front office. And I mean, you just mentioned Lehkonen. He's been the guy where I'm like, man, like you always think like, I wouldn't say his play's gonna dip, but like, how is he that relevant every single game? He's is like a star on this team now. I love watching him play. I love every time I mention their roster, I'm mentioning that puck hound. So that's all I got.
Okay. What else?
Miles Wood. There's another fucking trade. You know what the biggest thing about that is? Pasha. It's not, it ain't a player problem. It's an organizational problem. Zaka's having success. Wood's having success. Anyone who leaves that dirtbag franchise of yours, Pasha, has success. Suck on that with your jewelry on your face.
Okay. Shout out Georgiev. Has rebounded. We talked about the first game. Holy shit, what are they going to do? He's looked solid. Now, Winnipeg hasn't tested him much. My last thing on Winnipeg, I think Jets fans would agree. Last year, they lose out the 4 straight in the first round. They lose in 5, and Rick Bowness has a press conference for the ages. And they went out and they did things to address what he was talking about. Culture, the room not buying in, all the issues off the ice, and they made a bunch of deals. And you get Scheifele to resign, you get Hellebuck to resign, and everything looks different. Well, now what do you see? You're down 3-1, you've lost 3 straight in the first round, and you have a coach and a player dissension press conference where Scheifele's saying they're making all these adjustments. That's what he said. We're not making any. And Bowness is disagreeing. And you're like, what has really changed here? There's obviously something there where we interviewed Rick Bowness. Seems like a great guy. We've never played for him. But there's something going on where, like, shit hits the fan with this team. And it's just finger pointing everywhere. Good teams, great teams, they don't finger point. They point the finger at themselves. I have to be better. It's just like, it seems like right now, it's just like, what the fuck? That's on you. That's on you. It's just blaming everyone else. When, guys, you haven't played remotely close to how you had to play to compete with this team. This team is an offensive juggernaut. You guys are built on defense, clogging up the neutral zone and playing a lot of time in the offensive zone, cycling the puck. You're doing nothing. You're doing none of that. And that's why you've seen 3 blowouts in a row.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned Georgiev there because he did respond pretty well. 3-1 now. I mean, the numbers aren't great, 885 and 304, but he's been stellar the last 3 games after giving up 7 goals the
That's
first
all
game.
that's
Two,
all that
2-1.
Kemper had to do.
Exactly.
Give him average goaltending,
Yeah.
and they probably get you a Stanley Cup.
Absolutely.
And last thing,
So,
before we move on, all right, next series, Val Nichushkin, they didn't have him last year. They lose at home in Game 7. He was a force when they won the Cup the year before. And you talk about Hellebuck and what's going on with him. When I say confidence, Nichushkin didn't score a goal for about fucking 85 games in Dallas at one point. So, yeah, he's playing with McKinnon and Rantanen now, but it doesn't look like he's having success just because of those guys. So confidence is a crazy thing. And with him, they are a different team, dude.
no doubt. Now, hopefully, Brendan Dillon's feeling all right, buddy. I had him on the show a couple years ago, but that was an ugly injury. So, hopefully, he's back in the lineup soon. Man.
He's a warrior, too.
Yeah.
He was probably trying to say I could play.
Oh, yeah, seriously. Put some tussin on it. Get back out there. Whit, next up, your boys, the Oilers, up 3-1. Stuart Skinner, first shutout of the playoffs, 33 shots, stopped all of them. First shutout. I mean, we got to give credit to David Riddick. I know he only saw, 13 shots from Edmonton, but, stopped 12 of them. He gave LA the goaltend they need. They probably haven't gotten in the series yet, but you're 1 win away from that second round. Whit, how are you feeling, buddy?
Feeling amazing. Just the fact that we stole a playoff game, that they finally got a game, they won a game that they didn't deserve to win. Like I mentioned before, you need that in the playoffs. You need to have that happen, not just once. Usually it's a couple times on the way to the Cup. If you look back at all these Cup winners, they win games that after the game, the other fan base is sitting there thinking like, how the hell did we not just win that game? And shout out LA. It was very similar to Game 2. Edmonton ran them over in Game 1. LA shows up, completely different team, Game 2. Edmonton runs them over again in Game 3, and LA came out flying. I saw the first period. I'm like, all right, I kind of expected that. I think all Oilers fans expect that. And let's quickly mention these fucking 10:50 start times on a Sunday night.
You're telling me.
Yeah, buddy, I know you're working. Shout out to you guys, all you guys at TNT. It's what are we doing? Whatever. I'm not even getting into that. McDavid and Draisaitl at 10:50 Eastern on a Sunday night. But Oilers fans were really expecting that first period, and LA, they didn't disappoint. They came in waves. They didn't stop. They were chipping pucks in. They were getting on the D, but the Oilers weathered the storm. I actually mentioned, I'm like, all right, you get through that first period. You knew it was coming. Even if you get out of that period 1-0, it's like, all right, they were dominating that entire period. But then the second period came, and I thought the Oilers would really find their legs and the pace of the game would change in their favor, and it didn't. And it didn't in the third either. Yes, I say we, once an Oiler, always an Oiler. I love the Oilers. I just, this team, it's addicting. It's addicting watching this city watch hockey. There was a different mindset in this game, dude. They were blocking shots. They were getting pucks out when they shouldn't. When I talk about making plays under pressure, a couple times Bouchard's rounding the net with a guy on him. He's not chipping it out for an icing. He's finding guys in the middle. And while, yes, then the guy in the middle almost just had to chip it out, it's still making plays under pressure that the Oilers have not in the past done a great job of with their defense. Their defense is so improved. People who have called out Nurse and Ceci, they've looked really good, dude. They've looked solid. They've been getting in the way. They've been having good gap. Connor made a big comment in Game 3 about backtracking on that team. He said, when we're backtracking and our D have good gap, we are very, very good and tough to beat. I'm kind of paraphrasing that, but it's all about, not only is it the backtracking for people, I think most people know what I'm talking about, but it's these forwards getting on your horse and getting back and forcing the other team's offensive players to not be able to walk into the middle. It goes hand in hand with the D having good gap. If D are backing off the offensive blue line early and these guys have a ton of room to enter the offensive zone, the backtracking really doesn't even change because no matter what, they've already entered the offensive zone and they're making plays and they're cycling down low. When you have the backtracking and D standing up, which, by the way, D can stand up with this backtracking because they know if I get beat, I got McDavid, I got Leon, I got any of these other guys. Nugent Hopkins is amazing at it, one of the top backcheckers in the league. I got them right behind me, and it's not going to be a 2-on-1 chance against. So in Game 4, after dominating Game 3, they just like held on for dear life, but in a different way. And also, while the shots were completely outrageous in favor of LA, a lot of them, dude, they weren't like a ton of grade A scoring chances. End of the third period, they were. I'll say final 10 minutes, it was the Skinner show. The big question mark, can Stuart Skinner actually lead this team? dude, he answered a lot of questions last
Yeah.
night. He
I
really
was happy
did.
for him.
He had a really bad game 1 and 2. Actually, I shouldn't say really bad. An average game 1 or 2. He's given up 1 goal in the past 2 games. His first ever career playoff shutout, and he made some big time, huge, like game-saving saves in the last 10 minutes of that third period of game 4. And just to get that game after not really deserving to win, it just goes so far for this team. And then you go to special teams. LA is one of the top penalty killing teams in the league. They're 8 for 50.
Crazy.
Look at this, dude.
Crazy.
Look
I read
at this
on the broadcast too.
Okay, so for people who aren't aware, back when I played, I remember coaches would talk about the combined percentage of PK and PP. If you can get to 105, it's really good. If you can get to 110, it's amazing. So an example of that would be if your power play is clicking at 25% and your penalty kills at 80%, you're at 105. Pretty solid. Pretty solid. If you can get to 110, that means, say the power play is 25%, the PK is 85%, you're laughing. 153%? 11 for 11 PK and 8 for 15 on the power play. Not to mention last year they were 9 for 16 against LA in the first round. So chirp me all you want and try to say I'm ridiculous in calling this one of the greatest power plays in the history of mankind. This power play is unstoppable. I'm telling you, unless your goaltender, who has to be the number 1 penalty killer, and Riddick was good last night. Granted, they only had 1 power play, but they scored. And the call on England. Yeah, I'm not going to say that that's a great call. I don't think it was as horrible as Kings fans are making it sound. But, dude, the minute you have no stick and you kind of get that other hand around a guy's body, they're calling it every time. I know it was a little bit weaker, but that's fucking sports. That's not just the NHL. You get calls.
Didn't score a goal. You
and they
lost
did score.
1-0. No,
exactly.
You didn't score a goal, and their power play is rubbish. They were better 5-on-5 than they were power play as far as the Kings were concerned. And going back to these last 3 series they've played against them, Edmonton's 50% on the power play.
50%.
So they're 50%. So figure it out. The one other thing, man, and I think this is the biggest component, because if they don't have this guy, I don't think they get past one of the big dogs they're going to have to meet eventually. Evander Kane in game 3, he was a fucking beast. And his post-game press conference was...
He had Hyman laughing at his answers.
Can we roll the audio of it at least?
Can we roll spec beforehand in the podcast he did? I don't know.
Part of the game, is it the pressure? Is it that it means more? What makes you play your best hockey this time of year?
Just the drama of it all.
Look at Hyman.
Just brings the best out of me.
So going back, guys. So Spec, everyone reads Spec. You know Spec, Mark Spector.
I love Spec.
I'll give Spec credit, dude. He gets people talking. Some people love him. A lot of people hate him. But this dude's been doing it for a long time. And he went on a podcast, I don't know what it was, or a radio show, and he just said, Evander Kane's all drama. Drama just surrounds this guy. So much drama in his life. He brings drama everything. I think he was saying, actually, he's calling it drama. I think Canadians, do they say drama biz? I don't know.
Yes, yeah.
But
potato.
For him to then ask the question, what does it bring? What makes you play so good? Him to just bury him right back with the drama.
Delay.
I mean, the timing, and he just looks at him, and then Hyman's drinking the water bottle.
Hyman couldn't be a
Poker
nicer
face.
guy. Doesn't want any conflict, and his smirk, dude. And he's obviously been there behind the scenes and probably witnessed some of it. But Evander Kane, the gift that keeps on giving. Fuck.
Is that something you guys talk about in the locker room? Like, will you guys be like, that motherfucker wrote a hit piece about me, and then kind of everyone chimes in? Or is that something you just keep to yourself?
I think that you probably talk to the guys in the team you're most comfortable with about if a guy is coming at you publicly as far as a media member, if it's bothering you that much. Yeah, you probably mention it. Some guys make light of it and joke about it, be like, oh yeah, I'm getting ripped by Spec again. Is this a common thing? How many times does Spec have a personal attack on players?
Well, I don't want to really, I guess kind of personal attacks. I don't think he makes it super personal, but he will call you out if you're not playing and performing to your contract. Put it this way. I remember I was in the locker room in the real struggle days of the Oilers and struggle days of my career. And then I see the mob of media coming over, and you're just like, oh fuck, I was -3 again last night. I've been playing horrible, and you get a question from Spec, and you know that question is just gonna basically be a different worded way of saying you suck. Explain why. And then one time I got up, and then I went into the training room after, and Hort goes, saw Spec hit you with the first question. Like everyone know in Edmonton, everyone knows Spec's coming, and if you ain't playing, Spec's writing about it, and everyone reads Spec.
He's a media hound like Lehkonen.
Oh, he's a shit disturber. but like I'm saying, like you talk about him, like it's just that he's doing his job. I mean, some guys hate him. I certainly didn't love him when I was there, but he's Spec, and just to get buried back by Kane after bringing up the drama he's involved with. But Kane, dude, yeah, the Oilers aren't going to win the Stanley Cup without him being a big factor. And what Chris Knobloch has done such a great job of since he's come over is kind of realize how that lineup needs different adjustments here and there. And I mentioned at the beginning of the playoffs, the first 2 games, he started on the third line with McLeod and Perry, and Fogle was playing up with Leon and Nuge. Dude, before game 3, what did Knobloch do? He chucked Kane up in Fogel's spot.
Yeah.
And it's one of those, like, maybe, I don't know if he even necessarily thought he deserved it, but it's like, all right, he might have thought he deserved it, or he might have thought this will get him going. Gordie Howe hat trick, dude. Goal, apple, fight, and Kane's in the fucking series. And Kane's involved, and this is what we need. And now, dude, if you have McDavid and Henrique and Hyman, and then you come on the ice with Nuge, Leon, and Kane playing the way Evander Kane's capable of, that team is hard to beat. And I want to shout out Vinny Desharnais. This is a guy, when I first saw him last year, I was kind of like, big dude, tough, will stick up for teammates. His skating, dude, his skating has really improved. A couple times this series, I've seen him pivot and go back on loose pucks, win the race to the puck, make a play D to D. You got Ekholm playing with Bouchard. You got Ceci and Nurse. Then you got Kulak and Desharnais. There's not much weakness there. There's a lot of working together. You could tell these guys are talking. They're being very loud on the bench. It's just a cohesive team. And they have 2 superstars that, as we look around the league and talk about the great players and then the difference between a great player in the regular season and the playoffs, nobody does it like these 2. Like East Coast people, I got buddies that know I'm so invested with the Oilers, that love hockey and want to watch McDavid, that are bitching about these start times, that I'm sad don't get to see these 2 superstars that somehow are better in the playoffs. Leon last night, yeah, they only had 13 shots. Buddy, this guy is a horse. He's so much faster than people think. He protects the puck in the offensive zone. He'll stand still, and guys are just bouncing off him. And then he's doing no-look backhand passes to the middle of the ice, giving guys chances. It's just amazing hockey. There's a long way to go. They got to win 13 more games. Let's finish off this series at home, not have to travel again. But I love where the Oilers are at. It's been an incredible first 4 games.
I'll tell you what, Whit. I couldn't stay up last night to watch that. I was like, this is just not worth my time to watch it. I can't stay up late. I'll watch it in the morning. So I rewatching it this morning, and I started rooting for the Kings because of our Draisaitl shots bet, because I wanted OT. So then we're alive. And the Oilers gave them nothing. And I was just so impressed by them. I was like, wow, maybe they are a team that can win the cup this year. So I'm really think you got something good there.
Yeah, Biz, I saw Leon was -130, -125 over 2.5 shots. I was like, I put $5,000 on it. And he got his second. He didn't get his second shot till like 9 minutes left in the third. I was like, and then I'm like, Merles, I'm like, overtime, I win the bet, but I don't want overtime because I need to go to bed, and then they could lose. And it was just like this ultimate, like, what do I do? I was like, I'll just take the win. I'll eat the loss. I'd already hit Lehkonen. Merles gave the Lehkonen over 2.5 shots. But yeah, I thought Leon 3 shots was the biggest lock of all time. It was a Charles Barkley lock.
Biz, wow, what's your take on the series? I know fucking.
No, I mean, that was a great summary.
That
was a great summary of Edmonton. Like, I don't know. I thought that the big guys for LA showed up. Like, they had a push and they ran into a hot goalie. I don't really have a summary on the Kings other than, fuck, it looks like they're going to be done.
No, the
I
Warthog whacked out.
understand the goalie change. I don't think Talbot was doing anything where it didn't warrant Riddick coming in. I thought he was solid. I mean, Doughty's been battling his dick off. He plays a lot of minutes. I think he led all skaters in ice time this season.
Yeah,
and still getting it done at his age. I thought Kempe looked great last night. Like, they did everything. They threw the kitchen sink at him, but they didn't figure out the PK. And that is the biggest thing. And then obviously special teams. It came down to special teams.
Yeah.
And it's going to kill him.
Last thing on the series, Quentin Byfield is here,
He's a beast.
and it's only going to get better and better and better. That kid is a player.
Yeah, poor Kings keep running.
They're grooming him to be the next Kopitar. I think they're going to move him back to center ice position.
Yeah, that would make sense.
All right, boys. Before we get to the next series, here's a few words from our buddies over at DraftKings.
Live?
All right, before we move it along here, we have a few words from our good friends over at DraftKings. Oh, it's that time of year, everybody. It's Kentucky Derby time. Are you ready for the greatest 2 minutes in sports? Then saddle up with DK Horse, an official DraftKings affiliate. And right now, new customers who download the DK Horse app can get a 100% deposit bonus up to $250. Just deposit $25 or more and complete the playthrough requirement. Make sure you do that. Wager on your favorite horses, then watch the races at Churchill Downs live right in the app. DraftKings has you covered with a one-stop shop for all things horse racing. Download DK Horse now to join the Run for the Roses action. New customers get a 100% deposit bonus up to $250 when they opt in with the code Chiclets. Only on the DK Horse app. All right, boys, moving along. Dallas, Vegas. This was looking like Vegas might run away with it from the jump, but Dallas fortunately won Game 3, making it a bit of a series here. Ottinger had a tough start to the series, but he's buckled down a bit. We're also going to give a little shout-out to Logan Thompson, man. He was...
a little shout-out?
I was
a little shout-out?
Okay.
That guy was like Ken Dryden.
Major shout out to him. Yeah, he had never played a playoff game prior to this year. Or had never started one. We met him out in the All-Star game last year. Quite the character. 2-1 so far. 9.27 save percentage. 2.14 goals against. But yeah, we got a little good goalie matchup here. This is like two contenders, man. Obviously, someone's going to go out early. Merles, we'll go to you for this one first. What are you liking on this? I know you got a little multiple nigs inside of there for you.
Yeah, I got my Vegas Stanley Cup future. I love that team. I thought it was done. I felt sure they were going to win that game at home, but Dallas, they're a serious team, and we don't talk about enough that desperation. How much desperation can play into some of these things? You saw it with the other series we'll get to that were down 3-0, but Dallas had to have that game. They threw everything at Vegas. And I'm not big on Logan Thompson as our Vegas insider. He's all right on him. He likes him a little bit, but I'm much comfortable with Aiden Hill. But he was phenomenal. He kept him in that game. But credit to Dallas and our guy Wyatt Johnson. That guy is just. We're going to talk about him for the next 10, 15 years as a superstar.
Hey, I think somebody got him with a crazy future to win the Conn Smythe. I think was it Pasha put down $100 to potentially
Pasha
win,
was
to win 10 grand. He's unbelievable.
Yes.
Well, let's go back. That Game 3 made me change my mind where I think Dallas can actually come back and win this series. You know what the scoring chances were? High danger scoring chances after 2 periods? 21-3. 21.
That's what it ended up being.
High. Every fucking chance that Dallas was getting was a high danger chance. All the way to the one where Logan Thompson made the save and then Eichel goes down on the 2-on-1 and ends up fucking burying. Or did he set up Marchessault on that one? But either way, then you see Logan Thompson coming in net. He's giving it the pumpernickel. You never see that from a goaltender. But, hey, Dallas in overtime, they knew their lives were on the line. They dominated the entire game. They stepped it up. I loved how Stankoven was playing a shit ton in OT, obviously with Wyatt Johnson. They kept going to the young legs, and that's a pushback. That's when you're on the ropes. Winnipeg, take notes. When you're on the fucking ropes, you got to go in and you got to fucking dominate in the away building. That's how it's done. So I mean, 2 goals for Wyatt Johnson. Incredible series so far. Everybody came to play in that game. They were fucking blocking shots. They were fucking humming offensively. And a little concerning if you're the Vegas Golden Knights with that performance, because even when they wanted to turn it on, they couldn't. Dallas just dominated from top to bottom.
So Dallas is the best. They're the best team on the road in the NHL. So I think they definitely had that confidence going in. We're so far from dead in this series. But buddy, you're up 2-0. Everything's looking good. You're dominating play. Next thing you know, it's 2-2. All based on that big save and Eichel going down and burying. And if last year didn't remind us enough, like Buffalo Sabres fans, you're not gonna love it. Eichel is fucking amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Like he is so dominant when he wants to be. He comes down shorthanded. You think he might pass. Nope. Just snipes one right off the post and in. And it's 2-2. And you're like, holy shit. Like they're somehow going to pull this game out too. You remember in game 2, it was 1-1. And all of a sudden, like Hannafin comes out and gets that goal in the second period. It's like they just couldn't get over the hump at home. Glassbanger an issue. Glassbanger should maybe not show up.
He's a liability.
He's a liability.
He's a liability.
But when you're the best road team and then you go in there like that, and Heiskanen was incredible. I thought. I don't
was
know
the best player on the ice.
what did you end up deciding with him on your list, Mar? Does he fit the criteria?
He was the best player on the ice, and he was physical too. He was hammering guys. He was doing it all. He needed to step up in a big way. Where I said this on the show. I feel like in the regular season, given the offensive output they had, he didn't have to join the rush all the time. He just needed to play a simple, easy game, make sure he was breaking out the puck, staying in position. He had to be a little bit more aggressive and stand out. And in game 3, like I said, he was the best player on the ice. And then he has the goal as well. So hats off to him. He needed a response, and he needed to come out of his shell. And I don't know exactly where he is on your list, Mur, but he needs to be on it after that performance.
Yeah, he's on there. He's 6'1", 194, so he fits the criteria. I didn't go under the hood yet, check his block shot stats, but yeah, I'm very happy with him. We saw him at IceCon, and we couldn't stop talking about him every shift he was out there.
In person, it was different.
He was sick.
He's very fluid in the way he moves. He's quiet about how he does it, and obviously probably playing with Klingberg for the amount of time he did probably taught him a little bit about walking the line and how he's able to juke guys out. I guess my comment, and it's no offense to him, I would say that he's a poor man's Makar. Like he's just underneath him with all the skating ability, the offensive ability, the way that he's able to defend and close on guys. He's a one-man breakout. And I don't even think he's making that much. I think he's making like 8.5. So just an absolute bargoon and one of the more underappreciated defensemen in the league because he plays in Dallas and you never hear about him.
When you look at these lineups and how evenly matched these teams are, the Fasca, Radek Fasca, he's day-to-day, but he's fourth line, whatever, you could kind of deal with that. The Marchment injury, and it's also listed as day-to-day, that's a loss that's going to be hard for them. I don't know when he'll be able to play again, but that second line of Sagan, Duchesne, and Marchment, they're awesome together. So that's a big piece, and he's so big against a huge Vegas defense that you'd like to, or you'd think that he might need to be a part of this series for Dallas to come back and get it done. Like we said, after it was 2-0, you got to win 4 out of 5 against Vegas. Thompson's kicking. It's going to be hard, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if it's 2-2 going back to Dallas. I think we're going to see more out of Pavelski. His resume and his past convinces me that while being quiet so far, you're going to see a big goal out of him at some point. And I actually think overall, Hintz has been quiet too.
Yes.
So you got to think that Robertson's been real good, but his wingers there, you got to think Hintz and Pavelski will end up getting this thing going a little bit more. Or is Hintz the center on that line?
Hintz the center, but no, you're good.
Sorry, the other 2 guys on that line. But so Dallas has a little bit of question marks, but just that response, and Merle's mentioned the desperation. What was kind of shocking to me was when Wyatt Johnson scored that goal, his celebration was his second goal of the game winner, back in the series. He was kind of just gave it a fist pump. It wasn't, and this shot, buddy, he got a little step on Theodore, and I think a lot of guys would have ripped it quicker. And even Theodore with that long reach, he just waited. Thompson had to go down. He had no room. Bar down. I actually hit the bar and then top of the net right down, and he gives that pump there. But I feel like I would have expected a much bigger celebration. We're back. This thing ain't over. And he was just fucking, let's go. And the guys came in, and business as usual on the road for the Stars. So let's see what the Golden Knights come back and respond with in game. This should be a great one tonight, guys.
That was part of my theory as to why I think Dallas can come back and win this series is they just dominated in game 3, but yet they haven't had their big dogs fully step up, right? Like you said, Pavelski, there's still a lot of gas left in the tank, a little bit more from Jamie Benn, Duchesne, Seguin. Like if these guys all fucking show up the way they did in regular season for game 4, we're right back to Dallas all tied up, baby.
Yeah, it's just tough for those stars to get going against this Vegas team, though. You see those D they keep rolling out there, and the lines they roll out there. It's really something. Like, oh man, those guys are out there. Oh, those guys are out there now. It's really something.
Yeah.
Yeah, boys, I thought we might have a few handshakes over the weekend. Fortunately, we only got one handshake line. We'll get to that in a little bit. But Tampa Bay, the Islanders both staved off elimination. Matthew Barzal, double overtime, get the game-winning goal versus Carolina, stave off that. And the Tampa Bay, man, they looked dead in the water, ended up winning. Stamkos got 2 goals in game 4, 3-1 right now. Biz, who's dead out of these two teams? Are the Islanders dead in the water or what? I mean, are they going to come back?
I don't think they're coming back to win the series. I like their ability to beat guys one-on-one facing man-on-man pressure. The Barzal move, that's what you have to do. You have to beat them one-on-one. You have to create your own offense because they're going to smother you. So he gives that juke moves. He creates a separation and rips it posted in. So unless we keep seeing stuff like that, then they don't have a chicken's dick's chance of coming back in this series. I mean, their power play is not very good. It's never been very good. Another aspect into what they need is that second layer of offense from their back end. Noah Dobson, much like I said, like Heiskanen early on, maybe wasn't jumping in the play, playing on his toes, being aggressive. This is a guy who had 70 points in the regular season, 10 goals and 60 assists. So I thought he was way more active in that game 4, and I thought that was a big component to why they were able to press. And hey, give it to the Islanders. I think they've outshot them 2 of the 4 games so far, which doesn't normally happen. We know that Islanders aren't the most offensive team either, but this regular season, Carolina led the league and only given up 26 shots per game. So 3 times now, Islanders have exceeded that. So if they get the goaltending and, maybe they can squeeze one more out, but I think this series is dead in the water, and we're going to see a performance from Carolina like we did in game 2, where they have like 110 shot attempts and just completely smother them and swarm offensively, where I don't think this is going longer than 5 games, boys. I think they get it done at home. They ain't fucking around.
I do too. I think it's similar to Vancouver too. Without the travel being insane, it's like we ain't going back to New York. The only reason we're going back to New York is to play the Rangers next round. I'm not flying back to Long Island to stay at the Garden City Inn and play the Islanders again at UBS. So I was also amazed at Stefan Noesen, who spent time in the AHL and has really found a role with Carolina. Dude, he ties that game 4 up late on the he's on the PP. Like, it's just like Brindamore's able to find certain guys that just fit a mold. He loves how they play, and he's not just playing like 3rd, 4th line. He's out on the power play, tying it up late. It was a beautiful tip too. The Islanders are just hands down like the best at blowing leads and blowing third period leads this entire season. And for the Canes to tie that one late, I was like, oh my God, they're gonna blow another one. I thought the Canes would get that overtime winner, but you mentioned the Barzal move. Then Bertuzzo gets that shot through. It was a great effort, and it was desperation. It was not giving in, not giving up. And in fairness, like this series could easily be 2-2. It's like They have outplayed them in certain aspects and a couple games. So you got to think if they're able to steal one, go on the road, steal that one game, and somehow get it back home, then you never know. It's a tall task. I don't think they're going to be able to get game 5, but credit where credit's due. Now, I ate a lot of shit from Rangers fans. I had a take. It was last season where I said I thought Sorokin might end up being better than Shesterkin. I think I actually guaranteed it. Sorokin got his chance in game 3, gives up 3, gets the hook. Something's gone wrong with him. The whole second half, pretty much since Waugh came over, you saw Varlamov was the guy. I don't know what's going on. Maybe over the summer in talking to Patrick Waugh and getting back with the goalie coach, he's able to fix it. But right now, that's a take I would love to have back. Shesterkin is on the top of his game, dude. Shesterkin hasn't give up 4 or more goals in 27 straight playoff games. Like, this guy, he's him. We keep saying he is him, but Sorokin, in getting that chance game 3 to get his team back home into the series, he laid a huge egg. and got pulled, and Varlamov came in and got the job done in game 4 to stop the sweep from happening. So shout out the Islanders for not giving in, and who knows, maybe you can shock them in Carolina, but that crowd and when that team gets going at home, it's going to be tough.
One other way they could potentially come back in this series, they got to figure out a way to block the shots from the point. They got to get in shot lanes. Carolina's
Which you think they'd be good at.
Which you think that would be part of their identity. Carolina, 3rd highest scoring back end in the regular season, and they just find a way to generate offense. You saw in game, I think it was 3, Orlov and Burns had one, and then going back to last game, Pajot, like you got to get in that shot lane. Like that's where they pepper all their shots, and then they filter in the flankers. That's why the power play has been good for Carolina, and that to me is why the Islanders are struggling. They haven't figured that out yet. They need to make that adjustment and lay their bodies on the line. Let the bodies hit the floor.
What I agree with you, man. I mean, the Islanders are right in this series. The first 2 games, they lost 2 goals. There was an empty netter in each of those. The 3rd game, they lost by a goal, and they won the 4th one. This could easily be a 2-2 series or 3-1 their way. I agree with that. It's a lot closer than I think people think. Merles,
it was a sweep, but it wasn't a sweep. Kind of like
we didn't get
Stop
swept.
it.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Yeah. And Biz was like, say that again. Hot Rod. I didn't catch that one.
What?
Merles, what do you got on Tampa and Florida, man? I mean, Tampa won made a 3-1 series. Are they done or what? I mean, they're not going to quit. They got hearts of champions, but Florida's been steamrolling them.
This is the one. I think this one's still alive. Both games in Florida were 3-2. The one was in overtime, so Tampa could have easily won that one. And as you said, they're champions. Champions don't die easily. They got the great goaltending, which you need. I'm taking Tampa. We'll get to some picks later, but I think Tampa is going to go in and steal that one game. They'll go home and win, and we'll see a 7-game series in the Sunshine State.
I thought the coolest story of that day was Sergachev coming back.
Holy
80
shit.
fucking days since he broke 2 bones in his leg, and he leads them out. He starts the game, plays 17 minutes of ice against the best team in the East, in my opinion, and he ends up getting a primary assist. So that was such an emotional elevation for that group. And Coop is so good at pulling on the heartstrings and what he says in the media and motivating his guys. I think he said, he goes, if you don't have belief, don't show up to the fucking rink tomorrow. And that whole core group and what was potentially Stamkos' last game as a Tampa Bay Lightning, they all showed up. I think the whole entire core group had a point. Point was unbelievable. Stamkos had a goal. Kucherov looked like himself again. The power play was going like it hadn't been all series long. So it was all systems go. Hedman's been a fucking dog too. He's lugging 25 minutes a night in the absence of Sergachev, basically having to handle all of it in all situations. So a very gutsy effort. It was great to, if it is Stamkos or if it was his last game as a Tampa Bay Lightning, to get to have that experience in that game at home with them playing the way they did. That's what they all deserved. And as Talkett would say, you never underestimate the heart of a champion. They will not go silently into the night. Great push by Florida. Obviously, it's Florida. They I think in the 3rd period, they hit a couple posts after they'd made it close. It was 4-3. I think they rung one off the crossbar, one off the post. So they still had that fight and pushback. So this is an uphill climb. But if there was one team that could do it, it would be a team with 2 cups and a modern-day dynasty on their hands.
While we're talking about the Sergachev, sorry, Whit, but Sergachev, I just want to say it before we move on from him, is in his clip, he was talking about how he saw Stamkos come back from the injury and how it made him like, I got to work even harder. I got to do even more and more and more. And that goes back to culture. And the Toronto Maple Leafs have the opposite of that.
Biz, I love you mentioned Stammer, like 5 goals in this series. He doesn't have a deal. Like, how proud is that guy? Not to mention at the end of game 3 when he went down in goaltender mode and blocked that shot when they were trying to keep it alive. Kachuk ended up burying it, but he gets 2 goals. After the game, you saw Coop walking off the bench almost like, you thought you were going to sweep us, you motherfuckers. I don't think so. And then Nick Paul, dude. What the hell were the Ottawa Senators doing getting rid of this guy?
Idiots.
Doesn't he sign a 7-year deal for like $2 million or $3 million?
I think he makes like 3 and change.
And I think it was long term. Like, oh, what a fucking move that was, bringing that guy over. He's been a beast ever since he got there. it's still, to me, if I look at all the 3-1 series, I think Nashville has the best chance to come back and win the series just because of how good Florida is. But in game 3, dude, Tampa was up 2-1. They're looking good. All of a sudden, boom, boom, boom. It's 4-2. And Paul made it 4-3 and they ended up finishing off with the Kachuk empty netter. But this Florida team, guys, they're just so much to handle. I mean, you saw how much it took for Tampa to get that win. Can they do that 3 more times? I doubt it. It certainly won't be easy. If any team isn't going to lay down, like you guys mentioned, it'll be Tampa. And if you can get back to home ice for game 6, it's the same thing we've been saying with these other series. You never know. It's just Florida's, they're too big, they're too strong, and they have Bob. Bob is the guy. Bob has been doing it now over and over. Everyone wondered, could he do it again? Yes, he's doing it again. So I was impressed by Tampa. Sergachev, you saw the emotional Instagram post he had when he did get hurt. I think he talked about God and his faith in that post. So he got on the ice for warm-ups. The place was going nuts, and he kind of blessed himself. So you know that there was a lot of energy that went into that. That's a 24/7, like, he wasn't thinking or doing anything else but recover and try to come back to play. And Coop also, like, talk about playing that thing like a dog. I think he came out and said no chance he plays first round. And maybe they hoped that he wouldn't have to, but desperation, they called for him coming in. But Biz, you said it, 17 minutes. Looked great, Biz. I saw on the broadcast you say, like, in the clips that had come out from him, it just looked like the Daytona 500 at the beginning of practice, just barely moving. And you're like, all right, he's on the ice, but he isn't ready to play. Dude, he's playing with big-time forwards and keeping pace and pivoting. I was amazed at that.
In every clip I saw, like, he wasn't even taking a full stride. So I'm like, oh, this is just more of a moral boost. And then they asked us, do you think he's going to play? I'm like, nah, he's just there to read the lineup card and be there for warm up and get the boys fired up. And then next thing you know, he's on the fucking blue line starting the game. I'm like, what? Sick analysis, Biz. I don't even have the guy playing. He's fucking starting. But one last thing I want to say about Florida, the fourth line, Nicky Cousins, the fucking king of the rats.
Good boy.
He is They had Lamborghini go down too. I think he was out with the flu, so he didn't even play. And that Lorentz kid stepped in and did a heck of a job. Ended up having 2 points in that game 3. So when we talk about the Florida Panthers and their 6D and their whole lineup front to bottom, well, when the fourth line's contributing 2 goals, man, no team has any chance if they're fucking clicking on all cylinders.
And that's Stenlin, that monster. Know nothing about that guy. Is it Stenlin, the huge righty on the fourth line? Like, this fucking guy, he's a beast. Last thing for me on the series, we talked about the trades, and you get Paul, and, like, how good was Hagel? How good has Hagel been? That was another deal. The Blackhawks didn't want him. I guess they didn't want to pay him, but whew, what a deal. He's an awesome player. He's proven himself in the playoffs. I know he wasn't there for either of the cups, but, dude, it hasn't been on him why they haven't been able to get it done since he's come over, because he plays a hard role, he plays physical, and he scores big goals. So Tampa,
that's where you can figure out the dummy organizations. You see all these smart ones and how many first-round picks they give up. These valuable first-round picks. You get assets. You go get good players. And all those players you mentioned for Colorado, Lehkonen, I think they gave up maybe 2 first-rounders for him to Montreal. Give them away. Get the good players. Nick Paul, Hagel. All these good teams are going to find these diamond in the roughs that these shit organizations think that they have crappy players, so they give them away because they think their scouting staff's going to draft the next unreal first-round draft pick. Idiots, morons. Dumpster fire organizations who don't have a fucking clue where we should be running them. RA, you should be the fucking GM of half these teams.
There's not a chicken dick's chance of that happening. Biz.
Oh, yeah.
I would. Whit, you're talking about Bobrovsky, right? I mean, dude, he's been absolutely insane so far. I looked at his numbers. It's 3-1, right? 3-2-1 goals against, fucking 8.74 save percentage. I was like, wait a minute, huh? Like, I had to double check it. I'm like, dude, he's been insane. Like, I can't believe his save percentage is that low. Obviously, he had one bad game. Yeah, dude.
Well, it's a high-scoring series. You're playing against Tampa Bay, right?
Absolutely.
And you're right. It's 4 games, so that one high-scoring game kind of fudges the numbers a little bit.
Yeah, 17 out of 19, 21 out of 23, 26 out of 29, 26 out of 32 the last one. But, like, yeah, I mean, the saves he's made, dude, he's been unconscious. Like, the one with the elbow, with the back of his elbow turning around.
Put it this way, all right. Like, you see those numbers. Paul Maurice and Bill Zito, there's zero worry. Like you might look at those numbers. Some guys are like, I don't know what do we got. No,
that's
we're
why
fine.
sometimes you got to dig a little deeper than just look at the numbers.
Under the hood, as Merle's
Gotta look under the hood.
I don't even know how to open the hood in my car.
Well,
who else do we have
mean,
left? Are we saying goodbye to Wash?
Dude, you're in your 40s. You don't know how to look under a hood yet?
Oh, you're such a manly man, all right. I bet you're fucking changing spare tires all the time.
All right. Do you even have a car? I don't think I've ever seen you drive.
I wasn't talking about a car hood, Merles.
What's looking under the hood?
Whoa.
I mean, wow. No.
What's looking under the hood? I don't know. I'm missing this one.
You guys don't know the guy under the hood, little man on the hood, the man in the canoe. You don't heard that fucking phrase?
Like my dog? My baby maker?
Wow. So all you women don't have any fucking satisfaction for you three. Fucking Merle's got it right.
Not.
Yeah, clitoris. That's all. You didn't get that. Like,
finding the clit is looking under the hood.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, well, that's the clitoral hood
right.
that covers it over. Like, yeah, that's literally what it's called. Little OBGYN lesson.
Learn something new every day.
Absolutely, boys.
If I asked my wife to look under her hood right now, she'd slap me in the face 10 months pregnant.
Yeah, I would hope so. You know what? I'm going to call my great grandmother right now, and I'm going to use Verizon.
And look under her hood?
Oh, my God. You just ruined that. All right, off to Verizon.
All right, guys, before we go any farther, we have to talk about our good friends at Verizon. This playoffs has been a blast for me. Watching the Bees beat up on the Toronto Maple Leafs and Biz, it's just been an absolute blast. But the series isn't over yet. There's a lot of hockey left to be played, which means there's a lot of hockey left to be watched, and we use Verizon for that. Verizon's fast, reliable network lets you stream the games on the go or at home to keep up with all the action. It's had me covered down here. I'm in Chicago right now. It has me covered here. It has me covered in New York, late nights, when I'm on the go, if I'm out at the bar, or if I'm just sitting and watching and my girlfriend doesn't want to watch it. Plus, Verizon makes it easy to save on streaming the Stanley Cup playoffs. For a limited time, they're offering a great deal on the Disney bundle, which includes Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus. You can stream select Stanley Cup playoff games, including every game of the Stanley Cup final on ESPN Plus. Visit Verizon.com/Barstool to learn more.
All right, boys, I mentioned earlier, only one handshake line all weekend. The Rangers did sweep the Caps 4-0. Charlie Lindgren had a great year, but he wasn't up to snuff this whole playoffs. Shesterkin, unbelievable. Rangers are looking good right now, Merles. You think they how far they go? Eastern Conference Finals, Stanley Cup, what? A lot of people got dough on them.
Yeah, they're looking good. The goalie's playing well. Wow, Eastern Conference Final. They're going to be playing who? Your Bruins?
Well, I mean, they're going to beat Carolina first.
They ain't getting past Carolina. Shut the fuck up.
Did you see the odds? The DraftKings already had the odds for Carolina Rangers. Did you see that?
Oh, yeah. It was Carolina minus 140, did you say?
Yeah, Rangers plus 120.
Yeah, I really like the Rangers. I do like them. I would love for New York to get there, but I would have to say they're not going to the Eastern Conference Final right now, are they?
Wow, no shit, huh?
I will say smart of them to win the President's Trophy because they easily had the fucking biggest layup of the first round, completely dummied them. I think they had just as many shorthanded goals as Washington did power play goals. Their special teams were cranking. Panarin, holy fuck, dude, this guy's hammering guys, ends up getting the series clincher. I thought the best player in the series was Trocheck. 75% in the face-off circle, 3 goals, 3 assists, fucking getting involved physically. They're just a well-oiled machine right now, and they look good, boys. It sucks to see. The Fugazis don't look very Fugazi-like right now.
Not at all.
But I'm hoping this big, long, lingering rest period just helps them completely forget about how to play hockey, and then Carolina goes in the next round and waxes them. I don't really have much else to say. Shesterkin, what'd you say Shesterkin was at as far as his numbers? I mean, he hasn't let in 4 goals.
He hasn't let in 4 or more goals in 27 straight playoff games.
Oof, that's
Yeah, the other game he let in 3 at home. That was the first time in a dozen games or something that he let in more than 2. So he's dialed in.
When he gets in that dialed zone, it's pretty scary as the opposing team. Going back to the series, amazing first time ever. Ovi didn't have a point in a playoff series, and he had nothing. Beginning of the year, he had nothing, and then he turned it on. Carberry, after the series, actually mentioned he thought he was so gassed from dragging him into the playoffs and how well he played. Probably a little bit of a diplomatic answer, right? Like, what, RA?
No, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but we do got to give him, Spencer Carberry his props. What he did with that team this year, man. Like, he was a guy who come out of nowhere, a coach, and I mean, I don't know if he's going to be a finalist for the Jack Adams, but he should be. Did an awesome job with those guys. Sorry, but I didn't mean to cut you off.
That's okay. I think that's a good point. I think he would be top 3. But Ovi, yeah, he was invisible. He wasn't hitting like he usually does. He couldn't even get like his shot off. He couldn't get chances. You got to give credit to the Rangers. Suffocating defense. They got guys playing up and down that lineup that can just check and score. You got Rempe scoring a goal in game 1. You got VZ scoring a goal in that series. You got everyone producing. This Will Cooley?
Yeah, he's a good player.
Buddy, that guy's nice.
He's the
and
one who
now
hit, Wilson in the cock.
Yeah, he gave a little
cock,
spear to Wilson in the cock. You gotta now see they got a chance at getting what's his name back in the lineup. The fuck concussions injuries. I
check Cheidel.
Yeah, Heidel.
I'm the worst name guy.
Heidel. I'm mush brain right now. But the Rangers, they got to be super confident in how they look. But the Caps, I thought one of the coolest things in the series, and I could say mea culpa on me. I didn't like the hit that Panarin threw, but Oshie was on the broadcast with Biz on TNT, and a guy who's killed people his entire career. He said, I didn't mind the hit. And that's honorable. I mean, that's a guy who's saying, no, I got run over. And Panarin, we already mentioned, like, him playing like that is exactly what you want to see as a Rangers fan. And then Oshie's able to eat it. Yeah, I got run over and I didn't have a problem with the hit. You got to commend him for that. It just
those
seemed
dickhead Rangers fans had a good laugh at my expense when I teed him up for that to say, yeah, I'm hoping we get a few more calls. And he says, oh, I actually like the hit. I was like, motherfucker. I'm going to be a meme online now because these idiot Rags fans coming after me. There must have been 100 quote tweets calling me a clown, putting the makeup on me, all of it.
Brunelli's got a shirt with a clown face on you. But the Rangers, like, I've always looked up to Chris Drury. That's why I'm rooting for the Rangers. I love Chris Drury. He's done a great job there. I love the excitement around that team. MSG is my favorite place to play, at least top 3. Rangers fans are crazy. Rangers fans are out there thinking they're going to beat the Canes in 5 games. It's like, buddy, like, you're a good team, but you haven't been tested yet. You had the easiest route in the first round, and while giving credit, you took care of business, right? Carolina has to go to game 5. You didn't. You were able to show up and just wax this team 4 in a row. Good for you. Not much competition, but it's going to get way different next round. Shesterkin is kind of the game breaker. When I look at Carolina, though, it's like, fuck, Anderson looks awesome too. So I think that's going to be an amazing series. I mentioned the game they played earlier. I think it was February. It was like 1-0 or 2-1. Unbelievable hockey. You imagine it'll be like that for 7 games. But the Rangers have a lot of momentum right now. They got Keandre Miller playing great. I thought that Trouba's just being himself. He's hammering guys along the boards. Adam Fox, who I thought might have got injured there, that was a little scary. I think Jensen kind of went knee on him. He seemed to be okay from that. Rangers fans were petrified for a minute. But, yeah, they have a great team. They have a chance to go really far, but the competition starts now.
A few years back, we used to talk about how many Finnish goalies there were. Like, they kind of dominated the league for a while. Like, we got to talk about the Russian goalies, man. Vasilevsky, Bobrovsky, Shesterkin. These guys are dominating the playoffs right now. I feel like Russian goalies are like, fucking run the league right now, no?
Well, Merles, were you telling me that story on a podcast, or was that in Chicago when we were just hanging out, or Minnesota, about how the Russian Federation wanted to change up their goaltending issue when you were over there?
Yeah, that was way back. I think in like 2009 when the KHL first started, they made a rule that you could have 5 imports, but if you had an import goalie, he counted as 2. Because they weren't getting enough goalies. They weren't developing enough of their own goalies. So they made that rule so teams would stop bringing in imports. So it really turned the whole dynamic of everything. So that's what, 2009, 15 years ago?
Yeah.
It makes sense that it worked.
It does.
Wow.
And you have all these guys that are starring, and Shesterkin being the top dog. Sorokin looked great. He struggled. Then you got Vasilevsky. And then like this Fedotov, who's coming over to Philly now, who actually signed a pretty big extension. Yeah, they're all over the place. You also have, I think it's Askarov, who's coming into Nashville. I don't know what's going to happen with Saros, but he's been lighting up the AHL. I believe he was like a top 15 pick for Nashville. He was great in Milwaukee. So the Russians have done an amazing job producing goaltending talent. Now we just got to get them back in this best on best.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, I forgot to add
Just
this.
stop
Yeah.
fucking shoving needles up their ass.
All right, that was a nice
That's why they're not playing, right?
I
'Cause
don't
they're
know if it was
cheaters?
that or the
No,
Ukraine.
that's-
There's a lot of
no,
issues going
They're
on.
all because they're all
What
they-
else they're doing?
they're all renting Tim Stapleton's room when he's not there. That's why.
What is it? They still suspended from smoking darts on the plane after they won the gold medal at World Juniors? What's the deal here? Why
It's all
aren't
They
the
all
they?
land
get
they're-
kicked- they got
that
kicked
land
off
they're
that
trying
plane.
to take back.
Trying to take back Crimea. Jesus Christ.
All right.
Yeah, there's some issues over there in Russia.
but
If,
a little bit.
if I offered you $1 billion, would you fly to Russia?
Yes. Yes.
50 million?
So you die for $1 billion, what?
You think
they'll
for
take-
sure if I showed up in Russia, I'm getting killed?
I just wonder if they
I
got
don't think it's worth it for you
flag.
going there.
For $1 billion? All I have
No.
to do is fly?
What? So you would die like for $1 billion that you
all right,
die,
so
like,
you
I think
you-
my wife would be pushing me onto the
Well, she
plane if
would.
I made it home. I
he
got
would,
$1
but,
billion.
like, I mean,
she'd have a new pool boy. Hey, Ryder be
Hopefully a
learning
new-
soccer and hockey
hopefully
from
a
the
new
pool
fucking
boy.
floor too. So that
A
fucking Niagara
Russian with a
Falls doesn't-
mullet
fucking
shows up at
basement.
my house. He's got my heart in his hand, still beating somehow.
Yeah,
And he's
it
like,
has
"Hey,
$1 billion,
Ryder,
but
Want to play
you know,
soccer?
we just killed your family. Like, I mean, nah, $1
Hey,
billion.
let's get you a bowl cut. And let me shove this
Uh.
needle in your ass, Ryder.
Oh,
We're
my
gonna
fucking
Jacked all of a
God.
sudden.
Yeah.
All right. Well, listen, boys. Muggsy jeans, Merles. We wore them last year down NYPD
love
FDNY
Muggsy.
game.
Love
They're
me,
so
Muggsy.
comfortable. They're so good. Here's an ad for Muggsy right now. All right, gang. Before we go any further, here's a few words from our good friends over at Muggsy. Look at this vest, gang, right? Muggsy makes the Chiclets crew look awesome. We were down at the NYPD FDNY game last year. They had us all decked out in the old Canadian tuxedos. Dude, these clothes are so comfortable. Like, if you're like me, kind of spaghetti legs, don't have much in the back there. Don't matter. Muggsy jeans are so comfortable. The style, the comfort is unreal because Muggsy makes damn comfortable clothing for guys everywhere. Muggsy started by reinventing the jeans game back in 2015, and now they make the best jeans, chinos, tops, and joggers ever. Muggsy works exclusively with some of the best designers and manufacturers around the world to deliver the finest quality fabrics directly to your door. I mean, might look like Michael J. Fox a little bit Back to the Future, but pretty stylish. Little vest action right here. Their entire goal is making guys more comfortable at work, at the bar, on the course, wherever, by giving them one place to shop. Get one of these bad boys right here. Made from buttery soft, patented stretch materials that look stylish but are insanely comfortable, never too baggy, never too tight. There are over 18,000 five-star reviews from dudes of every shape and size, of which I am certainly one of them. And first-time customers can get 20% back on their first order right now. All you need to do is head to Muggsy.com and enter your email, and the discount is automatically added to your card. Boom, simple. That's 20% back on the only jeans and pants you will ever wear again. Free shipping and free returns on every single order, so the only risk is never knowing how great they truly are.
Muggsy, I'm telling you guys, not just the ad, they are the best. I have a pair they gave me. They're not jeans. They must be what chinos they're called. They're like golf pants. They're the I come home and instead of switching into like my sweats, I just like stay in those
Oh
because
yeah,
they're so comfortable. It's
they
amazing.
look
It
great
really
on
is.
you, and you have some. You're thick.
Yes.
You got a Beyonce dumper on you, Mur. That's all you do.
Yeah.
You got those thoroughbred legs, and you got.
I've always
great
had the hardest
salad.
time finding jeans. I would find a pair and I would buy 5 of them, so I'd be good for like 5 years.
You were
Yeah,
getting a
dunk
ton
it,
of
dunk.
compliments when you did the FDNY NYPD broadcast. People were like, "Damn, Mur cleans up nice." You must
tried, I
have
tried.
slayed back in the day. Are you allowed to talk about it?
No, this is a live show.
Yeah. Yeah, no, dude, my old man said
How
that
do you
a
think
couple
I got
times.
my wife? How do you think I get the beautiful Swedish wife, Biz? You know, it
Well,
wasn't. It's not
You
my
took her
bank
to the
account.
casino and she
I-
saw the Merle's
I didn't
casino
play-
act.
Yeah.
She was like always
Play
bet
in
on
the
black.
NHL.
How'd you meet her? Like what was the? Did you go out to the bar
I mean,
there
oh,
and
it's
just
look at 'em.
It's a big story between us because I claim she bought me a shot at the bar, but she probably remembers better than I do that I went up to her, me and a guy I was playing with, Alex Larson. We went up and bought them fisherman shots. There was no pink Whitney back then, so we were over in Sweden at little
What's in a
bar.
fisherman shot?
They don't sell it over here. So it kind of tastes, Fisherman's Friends, the cough drops kind of tastes like that.
Okay.
And it looks like Jaeger. So it's black. It's dark black, but it's got like a coffee or a cough medicine. It's the best, dude. Complete blackout.
Dude, I've been seeing these green teas all over the place for shots, but I mean,
I have done a green tea shot before. That was the cool Instagram thing.
I feel like it got popular when the word organic popped off. Everything's got organic on it now. It's like, do a green tea shot so you'll get fucked up, but yet it's a little bit healthy.
These are organic Doritos. They're cool.
Yeah.
Remember the pickle juice shots were big for a while too.
Yeah. Have you
They'll
tried my
hydrate you
organic
after your
blow?
shot.
Who was the guy who used to crush pickle juice on the bench?
Pickle juice and pickle
Blake
juice
Coleman.
and mustard.
All right. We're getting yelled at here. Boys, we had a firing since the last time we met. David Quinn, 2 years in San Jose. They fired him 1954-9. Tough session for him. But that's going to be a tough gig for a guy to fucking, take a gig like that. He knows not going to be good. And then you're basically getting paid to lose. Do you think it was a situation where, like, he wasn't doing the good job, or it's just like, man, they felt bad for him? Like, what's your take on this one? Because,
I don't know. I
never a
felt
good
bad
situation.
for Quinny. I mean, it had to be the hardest coaching experience he's ever had. It's hard to put a lot of blame on him with that roster. Like, who would have done better? I mean, they didn't. Their defense. I don't know if they had
us. We better.
Yeah, by just like bringing them out every night and them just playing guilty every single game. But maybe it was one of those things where now it's a complete reset and a complete rebuild. When he got there, I don't think it necessarily looked like that, but they've made all these moves since. Hurdle's gone, and it's like, all right, let's just kind of reset again. Who knows if Will Smith ends up turning out pro, if they end up getting first overall, they get Celebrini. There's not much in the prospect cupboard board. So that's what's kind of, I think, worrisome for a lot of Sharks fan is like, you don't even really know what the future's going to bring. They need to win that. If the Blackhawks get this first overall pick again.
What do you mean if they're getting it?
You think it's happening again?
But they get every outdoor game. They get every first overall pick. What are you talking about?
They have dirt. They have dirt on Gary and fucking Bill Daly or something if they do.
If they do, the league is. You think that the backlash towards Mark Stone going on LTIR is great. If the Hawks get the first overall pick again, Sharks fans should storm the NHL offices. But I don't know where Quinny will end up. Feel bad for him though. He had nothing to work with. It was a long year. He's going to continue to get paid. So it's almost like, put him out of his misery. He doesn't have to be there. And everyone dreams of coaching the NHL. I'm sure it's really hard to find out you're getting fired. But that was, I don't know if his staff got fired, if the assistants got fired, Ryan Wasowski, a couple others. I think they stayed on as of right now.
Yeah, they have.
So we'll see what happens with the new guy they hire. Maybe they end up hiring Ryan Wasowski, who I've known for a long time. His brother Dave played in the NHL a bit. But yeah, a very bad team. A team that at some point they looked at like we need to just lose and lose and lose and give ourselves the best odds at Celebrini, and Quinny ends up being the sacrificial lamb.
Talking about fucking draft picks, like the Devils actually tried to sign what's his name, Kovalev, Kovalchuk to a market deal, and they lost a fucking first round draft pick. Then what the Blackhawks did, they lost nothing. They got Bedard, and now they might get Celebrini. Look, I'm not a Blackhawks hater with, but that's fucking insane when you say that out loud, right? That the fact that Kovalchuk, I mean, they weren't trying to like rewrite the rules. Kovalchuk was a fucking superstar. They tried to give him a good deal, and they lost a draft pick. And it's like, oh, Blackhawks whistle by the graveyard, nothing. Fucking crazy, man. Crazy. Yeah. It is. Oakley Doakley. Yeah, all right. We had to go there. Amazon Prime Video, Biz. Not sure if you heard this one. They are going to be the exclusive home for NHL regular season games on Mondays for the next 2 seasons up in Canada. Did you catch this? No?
Oh, it's just in Canada. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah. Well, it's a big deal. I mean, basically, like, because, Rogers has had the deal for the last 12 years, $5.2 million deal. I don't know if they're, like, subsidizing or giving it off to fucking Prime here or what. I think either way, the more people who watch the games is better. I mean, I've been bitching about this for so long now. The blackouts, the like fucking people not being able to watch the product. I don't get it. I don't get why they ban it, why they don't let the fucking clips go out. But hopefully this is a little start to the better.
No, I like it. It's kind of the American approach, snapping it around to ESPN and TNT. It just helps for the growth of the game. And I don't know, maybe it'll be a different look panel. I haven't gotten any type of information on it. I personally love going back up to Canada a little bit and working. So I like snapping around between Hockey Night in Canada and working with Sportsnet. So from my understanding, it's in a little bit of a collaboration with Sportsnet, but Amazon will be in charge of kind of running all the operations.
Yeah.
Like it won't be ran like Sportsnet. So
not the same staff and people on the panel, or possibly.
Yeah,
it's gonna be new people.
Cool.
New people. So I'm interested to see if they create like a different look, right? Everybody's got their look. ESPN does it a certain way. TNT obviously does. Hockey Night in Canada, they got Ron McLean and all those legends there, and he's a poet in itself. So it's great. It's all different, and it's all great for the growth of the game. And guys, I will say, if I'm taking one major sports, obviously football's in a different world. I don't know if you guys saw the numbers based on just their NFL drafts and the amount of money it brings to cities and how many people. What did they say? 225,000 people for there.
Dude, the group of people in Detroit, I couldn't going there, and the people going to the second round of the NFL draft, it went back like 600 rows. It looked like in Detroit, and they didn't even have that high of a pick.
Yeah. So but as far as major sports leagues, I think that hockey is on a heater right now, and these types of situations and expanding it as far as networks and on-air talent and bringing more hockey action is awesome. And I think shining more light on the game will just help with the growth of it, and especially from the different network standpoint. So I couldn't be more thrilled to be a part of this game and where it's heading right now, and especially with the amount of talent that's coming in the league, because as we've talked about many times, the talent level, the skill level, and it just keeps amplifying year over year what these guys can do on the ice.
Absolutely.
More Cale Makars, please.
And in talking about Canadian broadcasting, it kind of segues into a tough loss for the game. The Canadian game, and even Americans who are able to experience Bob Cole, RA. I know you can go into that. What an amazing announcer and person that guy was. What a run he had.
Yeah, Bob Cole, Hockey Night in Canada, just an absolute legend of the game. Passed away at 90 years old. I mean, Biz, I think we should probably defer to you. You grew up listening to this guy. Like, I mean, he was basically the soundtrack to your childhood and some of your adulthood, no?
Like this amount of memories that this guy created calling games, and he would sing. It was like he would sing the broadcast. He would do it by himself. He would bring in a little piece of paper, and that's all he needed for preparation. He was a natural.
Really?
Buddy, he would have like a little sheet. He didn't need all these pages everywhere. He would just watch, and he was just a natural. And the amount of joy he brought to the game. And I mean, it's hard for me to speak on it because, I was still pretty young when he was doing it. I mean, obviously up until the later years, but like listening to Wayne and all these other guys who were actually playing at the time where he was at the peak of his career, and to do it for 50 years, he was the soundtrack to hockey for 5 fucking decades, guys, and just handled himself with absolute class. And it's just such a loss to the hockey world. And the word GOAT gets thrown around a lot, but he will go down as the GOAT as far as broadcasters, the way that he was able to deliver hockey. And I mean, the amount of Phil Bourque from the Pittsburgh Penguins, when Mario Lemieux had that amazing goal when he walked the Minnesota North Stars, he posted about that. And just getting to go on social media and listen to everybody talk about their interactions with him, or what moments stuck out and popped out in their mind to them. So obviously rest in peace, and there'll never be one like Bob Cole.
I remember when I moved to Ann Arbor for the national program, my billets, Dave and Dottie Linebaugh, great people. He used to work the penalty box door for Michigan games. Well, they got CBC in Detroit, in the Detroit area, in Ann Arbor. And I got to, watch the Hockey Night in Canada games, and just hearing this guy, you're like, this is just different than back home. I was 17, turning 18, and You're like, oh my God, like the way he announced the game, the way he kept it so simple. He was so good at like bringing the story to you. Like you're watching, but you're not like, oh, this guy's talking too much. But when he said things, how he announced goals, it was incredible. And even for all American kids, I think they'll agree. Like when you get to play at Hockey Night in Canada game, and if you ever got interviewed and you got the towel and you knew Bob Cole was doing the game, it just meant something. It meant something a little bit more. Awesome to see Crosby. I don't know when he recorded. He went to the Penguins practice or rink facility and spoke on him and what he meant to the game and how much he mattered. And I believe before, RA, you know better, before Bob Cole, it was Foster Hewitt. He was the legendary broadcaster.
Yeah,
So
yep.
Canadians went from Foster Hewitt to Bob Cole, these two legend broadcasters who were just masterful at play-by-play and making hockey, which is a religion in Canada, just that much better and greater to watch because of these voices. And so rest in peace. What an amazing job he did, and what an awesome time it was for me first getting to experience him calling a game and realizing how much bigger the game felt when Bob Cole was doing the game and doing the cup finals and just hearing his goal announcer, oh, baby. It was awesome. So hearing he passed away, 90 years old, dude, I think everyone would take 90 if you were given the option right now. So rest in peace.
Wow, well said, Whit, man. Yeah, I just wish we could got more hockey in Canada here. That's why the
I know
streaming stuff is awesome, man, because we do get it. And I make sure I always watch the Canadian feed just as
same here.
Like, the commentary's better, the play-by-play is better, everything's better. So also we want to give a quick shout out. Actually, before that, we have an ad from our friends over at Kraken. Let's go to that first.
All right, guys, before we go any farther, we got to talk about our great friends at Kraken, one of the OG crypto platforms. These guys have been around way longer than the hockey team, for over a decade, in fact. And Kraken's world-class security is like having an all-star goalie protecting your assets 24/7. It gives you peace of mind when it comes to trading, which is extremely important. With over 190 cryptocurrencies available, there's something for everybody here. Or maybe you're looking for new ways to approach your strategy in crypto. The Kraken Learn Center is an awesome educational resource for all experience levels. So join the 10 million clients already using Kraken's intuitive platform to buy crypto. Go to kraken.com/chiclets. That's kraken.com/chiclets and see what crypto can be. Not investment advice. Crypto trading involves risk of loss.
All right, boys. We have one last note here. You guys are familiar with the movie Goon, right? I've talked about it here.
Yes.
My buddy Jay Baruchel had a lot to do with it. Well, a lot of people don't know that was based on a book. It was a book called, well, I don't know if it's called Goon. It was not a huge seller. It was about Doug Smith, who was a guy from our area, neck of the woods biz. I'm sorry. And fucking Jay and his buddy Evan bought the rights to this book. They made Goon. Well, Doug Smith, he's a handsome police officer. He donated one of his kidneys to a good friend of his, John Fratesio, the other day. So I want to acknowledge him. He's a big part of the hockey community. Dude, the movie Goon is based on this guy. The guy, I don't think he played hockey until high school. He ended up playing the AHL. He was a fighter because he was that good of a fighter biz that he was able to get to that level. So, he's a big part of, a hockey movie community. So, Doug, what you did is an awesome thing. I mean, it's a huge thing to donate a kidney to anybody. So, it's a very noble gesture he did. So, I just want to give him a little shout out for that, Win.
Awesome.
How about also, I don't think we ever mentioned the story of Aaron Portzline, the reporter for the Blue Jackets. He got a new kidney, and it was a woman who works for the Blue Jackets who gave him one of hers, Lindsay Noel. What a story that is. And I guess it shows how much he's meant to being around the Blue Jackets that long, that someone that worked for the team was inspired to help him out. That was also a cool story in donating a kidney to someone.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because we talked about that when he was getting sick, and he mentioned he was looking for a donor, and I wasn't aware of that. So I'm glad you brought that up, Whit, man. That's awesome. That's a great little addendum to the story. And also, Biz, one more. The Coyotes, they well, I don't know what they're going to be called in Utah, but they showed up in Utah. They got to look at the building.
That was insane.
Yeah, what a place. What a place. What a job by Ryan Smith to get everybody there and a warm welcome in a very difficult situation. Everything I'm hearing is this guy's complete first class.
Yeah.
And already having that type of support in a new NHL city, it's remarkable. The amount of people that have committed to season tickets. And each of those players, after dealing with all they've dealt with over the past couple of years, not knowing what their future lies, they know that they're going to have a home and an ownership group that they can count on. So incredible job in a difficult situation from Gary Bettman and everybody at the league, finding this alternative and making it all work in such a short amount of time. Because I think this was all whipped together in the last 4 months, finally realizing that Murillo wasn't going to get anything done in Arizona based on the fact that nobody trusts him in his business dealings. So great job, Ryan Smith, and very
Except
happy.
for the NHL. Sorry.
What do you mean?
Except for the NHL.
What do you mean?
Well, they're like, oh, 5 years you can come back if you got an arena. We're waiting for you. So I mean, I got you.
No. I
knew you
mean,
were gonna say that.
I think that's from a legal standpoint. They're saying all that. I don't think there's.
I don't think it's happening.
I don't think it's happening.
Yeah.
So
Did you guys see the videos of it was pretty cool. So they had the
Spicy.
players up on stage and they had them all introduce themselves, just like, hey, I'm Clayton Keller. I play
Yeah.
forward. I'm from this place. Did you guys see Liam O'Brien?
Yeah, that was
Spicy
unreal.
Tuna.
yeah, he did a great, like a WWE.
My name's Liam O'Brien. You guys can call me Spicy Tuna.
Look at the man bun.
To get this place buzzing.
Just the difference in playing in the mullet compared to it looked like there was 15,000 people there meeting these guys and then
Center.
going nuts. They must have felt like, holy shit, this is the best thing that's ever happened to us.
Who's this crazy ginger?
Genius move by him because he's an unrestricted free agent. So he comes out like that. You
Oh.
know people are gonna, we gotta have
Merles.
him.
He's gonna have his own role at every sushi place in town.
7-year deal coming for the spicy tuna.
Yeah.
Can't get rid of him now. He just took over the whole city.
All right, guys. Well, great show. We'll be back to you Wednesday at noon. Mer's got something else. He got some picks. Sorry, Mer.
Picks. I see the chat here. I've been following the chat all day. Right away, it's coming up 15 minutes. The last game in Sweden, Skellefteå tonight. They're going to take the series 4-1, take them the money line, take them under 4.5. They're going to win 2 or 3-0. Then on to tonight, I got Tampa Bay plus 160 money line. Keep that series going. And my guy Hedman over 2.5 shots again with plus 130. I love that. Then the late
a lot
game.
for a defenseman.
Yeah, he's gone over it 3 out of the 4 games in the series.
Yeah, he's got 6
Okay.
points, I think. Yeah.
He rips them from up top, especially if they can
You
get some
got Vegas
VPs.
tonight, Mer. That's your squad.
Vegas, I'm on a money line. I'm getting Vegas money line at home minus 105. I'll take that every day. But this is my biggest play of the night. Marsha Show over 0.5 point minus 130. I think he got shut out last game. He doesn't get shut out too often at home. He'll be buzzing around. Those are my 5 plays, and I need them because I'm just about to go close. That's why I've been working my phone a little bit today, and I was probably muted because of that. I got a plot of land here that I'm going to go biz style on and build a house
Yes,
on.
Mer.
hopefully. So,
Wow.
yeah, it just came out.
You're
It's-
closing today on the land?
Yeah, we're trying to get the papers officially signed. That's why a guy called me. He's like, "Hey, I got to put it back on the market." I'm like, "No. Like, what are you
I gotta
talking
do
about,
Chiclets
dude?
first.
No, like this thing because it's in this one neighborhood we've wanted to be in for years. We've been trying to buy a house and never comes up. So now a plot of land came up in it. So we're trying to
All
get
right,
that
Man,
done.
boy,
so
you're
I
a
can get it
custom
built.
build.
Wow.
All right.
So yeah,
I love that.
I'll have the stories like Biz had for the last 3 years about his house.
No more socialism, huh?
Oh yeah, fuck nightmare.
Hey, knock on wood, Mer. Knock on
Hey,
wood.
Knock
Get
on
this
wood. That's
thing
why
done.
she's like, let's plan this. Let's plan this. I'm like, I'm the biggest bush
No.
ever. I'm like, nothing's getting planned until
I
this
got
is
some
done.
advice for you.
Yeah,
Plan
God
on
laughs
double
when we
the
make
amount
plans.
and double the time.
Oof.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Both.
Yeah, but I'm building like probably like the size of your guest house. So
No,
It'll
I,
be a little
Which-
cheaper and quicker.
Which
I'm
one
not
of
a-
his guest houses?
I'm not a dickhead like that. And fuck you guys. I'm the most conservative guy. My house is 4,400 square feet. I'm not a dickhead. These guys who have 10,000 square foot houses or 8,000 square foot houses are assholes. Wait, how big
ours,
your house?
ours will be even. Ours will probably be 2,000,
65.
2,500 at most. We're from Europe, man. We live in apartments. We want it
renting a
small. I'd rather
shoebox
have
up
the
there,
big.
yeah.
Like I want big outdoor space instead of indoor space.
That's what
That
I'm gonna
makes
have.
sense.
I'm gonna get the pickleball court. Can't wait to
Yeah.
have you guys play. Get a little.
The
tourney
guy's
going.
building a pickleball court. He's never played.
No, I played. I played a couple
you
times.
have?
I love it. I love it. It's
Okay.
good for the quick feet.
I'm getting a
And,
shoebox.
and it's not like tennis. You don't need that really nice stroke. It's basically like ping pong, but you're standing on the table.
I'd pump you
Okay.
in pickleball.
All right, yeah,
Oh,
geez,
here
say
we
that
go.
about
I
every
know,
sport.
everywhere.
Worry about your Bruins not blowing this 3-1 lead, you fucker.
All right,
All right.
guys. Wednesday noon, we'll be back to you. Thanks for tuning in. Chiclets loves you guys. Thanks. Have a great couple days. We'll see you soon.
Yep.